Happy Thursday, everybody. We have a lot to talk about, so grab a beverage. Whoops. Hopefully, you're wearing something comfy. Smash that like as you're coming in, and let's get started. Of course, my intro is here.
If you like what you see, come and get it with me. I know you deserve all you want, 'cause your heart's made of gold. But don't wait till you're old. If you want it, I get you some.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel, stand-up comedian and pop culture vulture. Joleen Lunzer here for another episode of No Offense, All Offense, the live show where we talk about all of the things going on in pop culture, trending topics, news stories, things we love to hate, things we hate to love. We take a comedic look, we roast it, we have some fun with it, we recap it. Remember, I'm very opinionated, but that most certainly does not mean that you guys have to have the same opinion as me. You're welcome to sound off in the live chat or the comment section if you're on the replay crew, and we can just agree to disagree.
That's my opinion!
Oh, Tamara, always so calm. It's just my opinion. Make sure you smash that like, you guys. It really helps the channel. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. We're on our way to 50K. Can you believe it? I have a feeling 2025, we are going to hit 50,000 subs. And oh, I see my husband. And I am so grateful for each and every one of you guys. And everything you have done to support the channel and just be overall badasses. So thank you, everybody. Feel free to share the live out with your friends if they like pop culture, if they like comedy, if they like that sort of thing. Now, remember, everything I say is true except for the parts that are false, and everything is alleged for entertainment purposes only.
Allegedly.
It's allegedly. Okay. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about. It is January 2nd. We're already into 2025, our second day in. I hope you all are doing very, very well. In person. Okay. I'm writing something down. My ADHD is like, you can only do this one thing right now. Okay. There we go. Okay. Did I set our super chat goal? Okay, I set our super chat goal for the day. So yes, sound off, let your opinions fly in the comment section. Please, in the live chat. I'd love to hear from you guys. Shout out to my mods, shout out to my members. We got to get into it. So yesterday we had a fun live. We talked about lots of things. And speaking of, let's just get right into the Paige and Craig, because obviously this is a story that's going to be trending for a while, especially for us Bravo fans, because we all know that Paige DeSorbo and Craig Conover, Paige from Summer House, Craig from Southern Charm, and also, Summer House, they broke up. He and they, both of them, broke up. But there's rumors, and the nastiness are that she might have might have a dude that she was hanging out with already on New Year's Eve. Oh my God.
Where's Meredith Marks when I need her?
The rumors, the nastiness, the rumors, the nastiness. You want me to go there with her husband? I can go there.
You can leave Meredith Marks for my family, me and Seth. You can leave this house, me and my family in my bathtub. We don't have time for this. Okay. So there's rumors that she was with another guy on New Year's Eve. And even if she was, they're broken up. So I don't know if that's hitting the way everybody or people who are leaking said rumors want it to hit. And then the newest rumor isn't only that she had a new beau, but it's that Paige ruined Craig Conover's proposal plans before they split. And she reacted to this. But this is according to the New York Post, and all of the, very hard-hitting publications are saying Paige DeSorbo reacts to rumors she ruined Craig Conover's proposal plans before the split. Dun. I need to get my dun 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 back. Dun dun dun. Yeah, she wasn't that into him. They didn't have the same goals in life, and he wanted to get married and have kids, and go to Charleston. She was like, no, I like New York and I miss my mom and dad. And we kind of saw this coming maybe for a while, even though we hoped for the best for them. And we like them. I mean, I'm not speaking for all of you guys, but I like them as a couple. You know, they definitely grew on me. And I was like, oh. So, but okay, so here's the story. In Paige DeSorbo's house, the online chatter is seen after the Summer House star 32 and Craig Conover 35. I always think he's like way older than her. I'm like, oh, he's like 50 and she's like 30. But no, they are just a couple of years apart. They're just 3 years apart. So they split after 3 years of dating. Fans took to social media to share their sadness. And yes, DeSorbo has seen the heartbroken fandom. In one TikTok, a social media user posted a clip of her sister processing the news. I wonder if is this the clip of her processing the news? No, this is, a train plows into a tourist. No, not fun. Jolene. Okay, glad I definitely, we dodged a train on that one. I hope that woman is okay, but no. Oh God. Okay. Should probably check that before we go live. So fans took to social media, and yes, so the sister was reacting and processing the news of their breakup. This fan. My sister experiencing all 5 stages of grief over Craig and Paige's breakup, the person wrote on the clip, captioning the post, "It's been a rough morning in our house." And then Paige replied to this and this TikTok, which we'll look at, saying, "I needed to laugh, and this was perfect. Thank you." On the day that she released the news, which was December 30th of last year now, which still sounds crazy to say. And then the creator said, who is Mads, M-A-D-D-Z, said, "We love you, Paige. So happy." At Claire Sanfilippo can help with a laugh. She does it for me all the time. So that much must be her sister she's talking about. So let's now take a look at this, this TikTok of her processing the news of Paige and Craig's breakup. And let me know if you were one of those people in the chat who was like very disturbed or very saddened by this news. I know when my husband told me, because I told you he's helping me produce now in 2025. And so he sends me stuff from the Reddits, and he's like, some guy named Craig or whatever and Paige broke up. I was like, oh, really? Okay. So hopefully you guys can hear the sound. Put a thumbs up in the chat as soon as you can hear the sound on this.
Yeah, they're broken up.
Where does it say that?
She said it on Giggly Squad.
No, she didn't. You don't listen to Giggly. Rumor!
No, she really did.
No, they're not.
Thank you, husband. Is that my coffee?
No, this is my coffee.
Thank you.
This is downstairs.
I was just telling them how you're producing for me in 2025.
Yeah.
How exciting that is. How you told me about the Paige and Craig breakup. And do you remember them? I had you watch one season of Summer House.
Not really.
Not really?
I didn't like Summer House.
Why didn't you like Summer House?
There's a bunch of white people doing white people things.
You see, like Summer House is a bunch of white people doing white people things. Well, they have some people of color on the show now. I don't know if when you watched they did. Well, Sierra is the beautiful black woman that dated Luke, who says, "I don't like ya." Luke from Minnesota. Oh, she wasn't on that season? Okay. Well, Chell said it was just a bunch of white people doing white people things. Yeah, that's my microphone. I need to find a way to charge it. It stays charged for like 2 seconds.
USB.
I tried. I used this one. Hi, my husband Chell is in the house. Yes. Do you want to show him your cute little face? Give a little wave. Give a little wave with your hand.
I want to go back downstairs.
Okay. I love you. Thank you so much. The fur babies, I put a blanket down because their rug I'm washing. So you guys are getting all the behind the scenes on the No Offense Offense. Okay, so this audio is a little, let me see if I can throw my AirPod in because it's a little light. It's a little low. Wonder if that's due to me with this. No, okay. So this woman says, my sister experiencing all 5 stages of grief over Craig and Paige's breakup.
Yeah, they're broken up.
Where does it say that?
She said it on Giggly Squad.
No, she didn't. You don't listen to Giggly. Rumor!
No, she really did.
No, they're not.
Yes.
They're getting married in 2025. What the hell?
I'm so mad that you stopped it.
There he goes.
Because he wants to have a fucking baby. Oh my god! I thought you were planning a funny prank like Jesus is real, show it to me, Rachel.
No, really, that happened.
Jesus is real. Show it to me, Rachel.
I'm depressed.
Oh.
Can't speak it through. Don't have what it takes.
So she went through all the stages shown there of grief in less than a minute, which I can't say that I haven't done myself, certainly. So okay, let's get back into this story here. Oh yeah, Patty Chell is right, but I still like the show. Yep. Where's the lie? Okay, so back to this story. So she commented on that TikTok, and DeSorbo replied in the comments, and that was super fun. And then let's see. My boyfriend drunk ranting about Paige and Craig's breakup, she wrote on TikTok, to which DeSorbo responded, "We love a gossip king." So Paige is responding to all of these TikToks of people reacting to her breakup with Craig, along with opening up about the fashion influencer and the Sewing Down South founder's relationship ending. Others shared their theories on why the exes went their separate ways in the first place. One TikToker suggested that DeSorbo ruined a proposal Conover had planned, to which DeSorbo noted beneath the footage, "I'm obsessed with all this fan fiction. I think we're so..." Prince is back. Yay, Prince. I think we're so used to on Bravo there being some big scandalous story and about breakups, and it's just hard for us Bravo fans to just accept the fact that they just weren't MFEL, meant for each other, you know. So people have all their different rumors, and one of them was that she ruined a proposal from Craig, and that he had planned, and then, you know, of course, Paige. What the heck? I don't know what Prince just hit, but he triggered some kind of ads. Oh, it's the hiker video that we were trying not to watch. Prince, the hiker that was hit by, or was it a hiker that was hit? Now I'm like, what was it? A hiker that was hit by a train? Yeah. Okay. And then, okay. Prince is really, he wants to do hard hitting news. And I said, we do pop culture over here, Prince. Okay. We do some news stories, but we try to keep it somewhat light. And Prince is out here trying to talk about people getting hit by trains. Okay. Prince, Don. No, baby, no. All right. So Paige says fan fiction, but DeSorbo isn't as obsessed with the ones who say she should have left New York City to move to Charleston to start settling down. I wouldn't be either. May friends like this never find me, Paige exclaimed. Fans, meanwhile, weren't the only ones affected by the split. Jon Hamm took a moment to reflect on the year's end breakup on live television. The actor 53 appeared on CNN's New Year's Eve live on Tuesday, telling hosts Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper, I gotta pour one out for Craig and Paige. My goodness, the end of an era. Geez, who would have thunk it? Jon Hamm said. DeSorbo announced that she and the Southern Charm vet had split after 3 years of dating on Monday, on the Monday episode of Giggly Squad with Hannah, and we played it and we went over it. Well, we played that part. So if you want to hear the whole thing, and you're not already a giggly squatter or giggler, is that what they call them? Giggler? Go check that out, their most recent episode. And it was just, you know, it was very mature. We decided we don't want to be together. And that's that about that. There was no crazy story, allegedly, even though people are still going to try to speculate and possibly have a, these different, more dramatic theories come to light and speculation over it. I don't think they'll be able to run from that. And Andy Cohen did react to the news. He finally, I guess you would say, broke his silence, as E! News would say. Andy Cohen breaks his silence about Paige and Craig. Even though, technically John Hamm brought it up on New Year's Eve, but he did it in such a social media way where he really opened up his, right, everybody loves Prince. Now Prince left. He'll be back. He'll be back later to try to do some more hard-hitting news. So here you can see Bravo Daily Dish. After more than 3 years of dating, Paige DeSorbo has confirmed that she and Craig Conover have a split, saying it's the right decision for both of us. And then Andy with 1, 2, 3, 4 crying face emojis. So it's serious. It is serious. Brandy says, Up and Adam said he removed her line of pillows from his website. Oh, well, that's even more serious. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. My allergies are acting up. That's even more serious. If he removed her line of pillows, but they're broken up. And he's like, all right, we're going our separate ways, even business wise. That's why it's always interesting when couples get involved in businesses and that stuff's going to happen. Not paid by anyone says, I really think he told her that I will move to New York City. Let's get engaged. Then she had no choice. Oh, but nor did he. But to, end the relationship. Could be. It could be that he was like, I'll do anything. And then it was like, okay, let me think about it. And still no. So, the pillow sold out. That's hilarious. That probably is most likely what happened, because I think right now would be the best time to sell the pillows, because it's going to be they could be worth money one day. This is when pillows from when they were together. This will remember. I will remember you. Doobie-dub-dub-dub. Will you remember me? Jay Rye, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. Enjoy the exclusive content, bonus content, and emojis. Thank you so much for that. So it's always the pillows that suffer in these type of relationships. And they've suffered for years from tears. Tears on my pillow. Yes, Otter, they can become collectibles. So Andy has spoken, and he's clearly very upset, to the point where he is, doing crying emojis. Okay, I have some other super fantastic news that I forgot to talk about yesterday because we were just having so much fun and talking about so many things. But you guys, I am so freaking thrilled to tell you that the wife of the horse trainer, who was Teddi's friend, so Teddi's horse trainer, who she had an affair with, his wife has filed for divorce. Hallelujah. Get it, sister. Take him for all his horse money, all his hay, all the stables. Get it. So the wife of the horse trainer who had an alleged affair, I think it's not alleged anymore, but I think they have to say that, with Teddi Mellencamp, files for divorce. Okay, so John Cougar Mellencamp's daughter, Teddi Mellencamp, had an alleged affair with her horse trainer, Simon Schroeder. Sexy. Over here, we call him Sexy Simon. This is sexy. Oh, Rexy, you're so sexy. Sexy Simon Schroeder. Who had an alleged affair with her horse trainer, Simon Schroeder, months before separating from husband Edwin. And now Simon's wife, Carly, which we've always been very big supporter of Carly. Shout out to Carly. Shout out to you. You deserve so much better. Stay away from Teddi. If she's stalking you, get a restraining order. We saw her at that horse show that your daughters were at or something, and she was looking at you from up in the stands, and it was weird. Very weird, Teddi. Okay? It's one thing to have sex with someone's husband. It's another thing to start stalking the woman. It's like, you already banged her husband. You've done enough. Allegedly. Okay. So she's filing for divorce. Us Weekly can confirm Carly filed paperwork in Los Angeles County on December 30th. So she's like, I am not going into 2025 with sexy Simon. All right. I'm done with his ass. He can get Invisalign with his own money. I am not here for that. So she filed paperwork in Los Angeles County on Monday, December 30th, citing irreconcilable differences. I would cite cheating. I would cite cheater, pumpkin eater, had a Teddi, but couldn't feed her because allegedly she doesn't eat because she does the all in. She's all in on air, allegedly. Okay. In court documents obtained by us, Carly listed the pair's date of marriage as April 14th, 2024, and date of separation being September 2024. Is that what she's saying here? Yes. And now we know that he was allegedly, we talked about this, married to somebody else and she didn't know. Allegedly. So that's why their original wedding date was a lot sooner than just this past April. But since he was already technically married to someone or something, it's a mess. But I didn't know horse trainers got it like that. Like, who knew this guy could have like a wife over here, a wife over there, an ex-housewife, John Cougar Mellencamp's daughter. But I guess he's got it like that. And then the article goes on to say, although Carly and Simon's latest marriage lasted only 5 months, US confirms that the pair previous had another marriage annulled in Ventura County. The annulment was finalized in February, and Carly and Simon tied the knot again less than 2 months later. The former couple shared daughter Lena, such a cute name, 3, and son Henry, 7 months. Remember, allegedly, Teddi was banging sexy Simon while sexy Simon's wife was preggers, and possibly while she was giving birth, which is like, sir, your boner should not work when your wife is pushing out your baby from her baby door. Your boner should be broken that day. That's a day that you don't get to use your boner. You've used it enough. Now you be there for her and her baby door as she's creating life, asshole. Okay. So the former couple, they share the kids, blah, blah, blah. Carly is seeking primary custody of the 2 children and joint legal custody with Simon. She's also seeking spousal support. Yes, get it. Take him. Get his money if he has any. And requesting that he pay her attorney fees. Yes, because it's his fault. You probably would have stayed married to him, right? If he wasn't throwing it in Teddi, you'd probably still be married. So I agree with that. Yeah, you should pay my attorney fees. Okay. If you're dipping your wick where it doesn't belong, and now I got to divorce your ass, you got to pay for the attorneys. And US has reached out to Simon and, oops, that's out of order. Reached out to Simon, and I don't think he had anything to say. No. So Simon's not talking about it, but US reported on Simon's alleged affair with Mellencamp 43 in November, shortly after Mellencamp announced her decision to file for divorce. Simon and Teddi had a thing several months ago, but it's not still happening. A source exclusively told us at the time, noting that Mellencamp and Edwin, 47, were both unfaithful to each other during their marriage. Teddi and Edwin had been working on the problems of their marriage despite this his past indiscretions. She always wanted to talk about his past indiscretions. They stayed in the marriage for the sake of the kids. A second insider claimed that Edwin spoke with Carly, who confirmed the affair. The source noted that Edwin was unfaithful to Mellencamp 8 years ago, but insists he has not had an affair since. The first source, meanwhile, said Mellencamp and Edwin are both to blame for the problems in their marriage. Teddi isn't excusing the behavior, but this was the first and only time she strayed. Okay, we saw her responses. So they're saying this is the first and only time she strayed out of the marriage, and says there's 2 sides to the story. Mellencamp seemingly addressed her infidelity via Instagram last month. Yeah, remember when she was posting thirst traps on Instagram, you guys? And she was like, I'm owning it. I'm taking accountability. And we're like, not really. You're just posting pictures of your tits. You're like literally just posting pictures of you working out with your cleavage. This was like her big, the only person who can change your life is you. We have 2 options. Pretend to be a victim or stand up and fight for yourself. What do you mean fight? There's nothing to fight for. You got to put your tail between your legs, put your vulva, put your labia between your legs, and be like, I fudged up. I shouldn't have done that. I should have got a babysitter or something. I shouldn't have done that. We all deserve peace and happiness. Not necessarily all of us. I'll be honest. Okay. You guys agree? Not necessarily everybody deserves it. We've seen some real assholes come about. So I don't know if they necessarily deserve that. I have cried and mourned. Well, I bet Carly has too. She just had a baby. So she's probably dealing with all the hormones from having a baby. God forbid she's dealing with postpartum or something. And then you're banging her husband and her husband's banging you. It's just a bad deal. I have taken accountability. Not really. You've taken out your cleavage, but I don't know about accountability there. And apologize for things I've done wrong. Now I have given myself permission. Well, that's not how that works. To grow and thrive. Oh, good for you. Just like he was growing and thriving in you. Okay, stop it, Joleen. Stop it. I have decided to not pander to the media. Girl, that's all. You love the media. You're like Heather Dubrow and Terry Dubrow calling the media. I called the paparazzi on myself. Okay. And tell my side in the big scheme of things. Clickbait means nothing. Isn't this kind of okay? And of course, 3 sides to every story. Yeah, not necessarily. How I can stand up and show up for the people that do matter does. This is called being an adult. I would say being an adult is keeping your genitals where they belong. Okay. And then when you don't, that's okay. But you got to just kind of own that. And then you're not the hero of your story after you go bang someone's husband. But okay. This is called being an adult. This is what it saying it with my full chest feels like. And then she puts her full chest in the picture. We see you, Teddi. We see what you're doing, Teddi. We see that, Teddi. Thank you, Susie Q, for the first super chat of the live. Get those oats, girl. Thank you. Thank you, Susie Q. Appreciate you. But oh my gosh. Let's just say nay on Teddy's horse poopy. Oh, Teddi. But I am so happy. I was so glad to see that Carly, non-sexy Simon's wife, was filing or has filed for divorce. Get out of that shit. And just, if you see this guy, run. If you see this girl, run in a totally different direction. Okay, don't look for them like Mary Cosby. All right, don't search anywhere for them. They're gone. They're dead. They're dead to me. They're dead to you. So congratulations, Carly. And let's get to more rumors and nasty.
Where's Meredith Marks when I need her?
The rumors, the nastiness, the rumors, the nastiness. You want me to go there with her husband? I can go there. You can leave.
You can leave. I cannot wait for a new episode of Salt Lake City, you guys. And I just can't wait for Salt Lake City. I'm so excited. And for Beverly Hills. It's not this week, right? Right? We didn't get it. Hopefully not. Okay. So, Witness makes a great point in the chat. Typically, people have 100% control of their wieners at all times. Yeah. It's kind of expected. Where you been, Teddi? Yeah. That is kind of an expectation, you know. But Teddy's like, I can't control my wieners. I can't control mine. Next week, all the shows start back up. Oh, thank you, artists. I'm like, I guess, well, I understand why they take the break. And maybe I'm a little grateful. But just to kind of get to watch it again. No, I think we should have a show now. I think the show should happen now. Thank you, Joleen Lunzer's #1 fan. Are we all? Joleen Lunzer's #1 fan in our hearts. I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, aren't we all? I know I'm your biggest fan. I'm your biggest fan. I'll follow you until you love me. All right, you guys. So there's so many things that I want to talk about. There's so many things I want to say. There's so many things I want to talk about. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted to get at before I move on here. Okay. So, do you guys remember Laura-Leigh? All right. So Laura-Leigh was on the first season of Vanderpump Rules. She was iconic that season. And she went on to be in the movie like Meet the Millers and a show with Jennifer Love Hewitt and a bunch of other stuff because she was like a Juilliard trained actress, and she talked like this, and she was she was sober on the show, and her and Jax had a fling. I'm sure everyone remembers Laura-Leigh. And then there was some talk earlier this year wondering if everything was okay with Laura-Leigh. And she's okay. So I don't want to like scare you guys. Well, she was on a podcast. So I saw 2 podcast episodes that I want to talk about and play a little bit of if you guys are interested. And maybe we'll get to both. So Jax has a few episodes of when reality hits. He had one that came out with Schwartz, and he's still really trying to push this like, guy, I'm going to tell you about guys, about men. It's like, no. You should not be the spokesperson for that. You're not. That's no, you in the mind of a man. He really wants to push this in the mind of a man thing. And I'm like, but you're really not a man. You're more of like a beast. You're more of a mess. It should be in the mind of a mess. Okay. So first though, I want to talk about Laura-Leigh and then we'll get to the Jax stuff. But so Laura-Leigh did an interview, and I don't know if she's ever done like a full interview about her time on Vanderpump Rules. I've only listened to part of it. So we're going to listen to a little bit of it here and commentate. So I'll be like stopping and we'll be giving our reactions to things. But from what I listened to, it was very interesting. Also, some people are wondering where she's at with her sobriety. And by the looks of Laura-Leigh, some people are questioning, you know, is she okay? And I do hope Laura-Leigh is okay. I hope she's doing well and all that stuff. But she was on the Vanderpump Rules Party podcast. So let me drop a link for them because we always want to support our fellow creators. Party Pod, right? Is that what it's called? Yes, Vanderpump Rules Party podcast. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts. They also are on Instagram. And I'm sure they're on TikTok as well. And they've been dropping little nuggets, if you will, of this interview. And then I went to the old Apple Podcast and found the entire audio of that. So I just dropped that here in the chat. If you guys are looking for, go listen to the whole episode, go support them. Vanderpump Rules Party, follow them on Instagram, all the things. Anna says she does seem a little off. It's a little off. I have a little, I don't know if this will play, but some of the actually I'll pull up their Instagram and then I'll show you some of the clips I'm talking about and then we'll get into it. But Laura-Leigh is now, I think she's like 33, I think. So she's had, you know, quite a bit of perspective, I guess you would say, after being on the podcast. Or being on the show, I should say, not the podcast. So Vanderpump Rules Party. Let me pull that up here. Smash that like if you haven't already, and if you don't mind. But also, yeah. So I don't know how she's doing regarding what people are questioning regarding her sobriety and stuff. But I just hope she is doing well. And you know, she was like 21 when she was on the show. So now, obviously, she's going to look a little different. She's still adorable. But obviously it's not the same. I mean, she's still very young, so she looks so, but there is a little bit of an energy that I picked up on. And as a sober lady myself, I'm like, okay, I'm just picking up on some energy, if you will. Okay, let me share this with you guys and audio shared. Okay. Oops, not that one. Not that one, Jolene. This one, silly goose. Okay. Instagram. With the audio shared. All right. So they dropped a couple of these little clips on their Instagram, the Vanderpump Rules Party. You can go follow them there. And let's listen to this first one. Okay, let me.
Stassi and her little crew would come in and spill drinks on me or send me hate letters through like the cooks. Like as I'm like, yeah, or like come sit in my section and like just to like berate me and like during my shifts, like these things that were so wrong. I would have shifts where Stassi and her little crew would come in and spill drinks on me or send me hate letters
my
through
gosh.
like the cooks, like as I'm like, yeah, or like come sit in my section and like just to like berate me and like during my shifts, like these things that were so wrong. I would have.
Okay, so that's one of the clips. And then let's go to the next.
You want to know something funny? I actually, when I started at SIR, before I really met everyone, I asked Peter out on a date.
Really?
And he turned me down.
Peter.
Yeah. And he turned me down. He like one night had given me a ride to my car because I was parked pretty far away and we had closed really late. And I had asked him out like very smoothly, I thought, on a date. He said no. And I was like, oh. And now I'm so grateful. I'm like, thank God I dodged that bullet.
Well, you know, you could try again. He's
No,
still there.
no, it's fine. It's fine. Stay there, Peter. Be your pirate self. You want to know something funny?
So,
I actually, when I started at SIR, before I really met everyone, I asked Peter out on a date. I'm a single woman doing it all on my own. And, you know, I had my own apartment, my own car, no parental help financially, working endless jobs and auditioning and testing and completely depleted. So I signed it so that I could get $500 to pay the rest of my rent for that month. And that's what I made off of the show.
$500
total?
Correct. Correct.
Oh my God.
No residuals,
residuals.
nothing. And I had to like go after them to get that 500.
So, like, do you get residuals on what?
Yes. I'm a single woman doing it all on my own.
So $500 she got paid. And she'll talk a little bit more about that as we listen to more of the audio. Again, this is Vanderpump Rules Party Podcast. Go check them out. Show them all the love. Interviewing Laura-Leigh, who was on one season of Vanderpump Rules, and she came in as like the new server, even though she said she had she worked there, but she was new compared to everybody else. Jax pursued her. They dated. Remember, she's the one they had sex in the bathroom at SIR. And Stassi ended up being really mean to her because this is when Jax is like playing the girls against each other. And he's way too old to be dating Laura-Leigh at the time. She's 21. Stassi's, I think, 21 or 22. And he's like 100. So he's just too old to be dating these young women. And so Laura-Leigh, I right when I saw this, I'm like, oh, I want to watch this interview because everyone has always wondered, like, how's Laura-Leigh? You know, she made, even though she was there for such a small amount of time, she really made an impression on the show. And it was, you know, one of the big early storylines of just showing what a douchebag Jax was. So let's listen to a little more of what she had to say. And I'm just going to speed it up to 1.5. Let me know if it's too fast. But as I was listening, I noticed that maybe it's just my ADD, but they talk kind of slow. So I had it at 1.75, but I'll put it at 1.5. And you guys let me know if it's too fast.
Oh. Then thank God to the residuals, nothing. And I had to like go after them to get that 500.
So we're starting where she's talking about the money, only getting $500. And she said the rest of the cast that first season, like the main players, they all got $8,000 for that season. So if you're wondering what she's talking about, she got $500.
Residuals on what?
Yeah. So like, okay. So like the cast all got paid. Like I think it was $8,000 the first season.
Yeah.
Residuals, nothing. And I had to like go after them to get that 500.
So, like, do you get residuals on what?
Yeah. So like, okay. So like the cast all got paid. Like I think it was $8,000 the first season.
Yeah.
It's like Jax and everyone else. I got like $8,000. And the only reason I know that is because it's all the money Jax had to his name. And they were like, I was like, well, if they're getting money, like, why can't I get money? I was like, well, I can't even. And they were like, okay, we'll give you $500. So I got paid $500 that I like had to like fight for and drive to like Nowhere Valley. I'm
To like Kyle's house in Encino, like Nowhere Valley. No offense, all offense, Kyle.
talking the Valley and then like 2 hours outside of the Valley
Oh.
to get this check. And
Oh.
then thank God I booked We're the Millers, and then I booked the series regular with Jennifer Love Hewitt on the client list.
Mhm.
And that's at that point I had done it for a season with them. And when I realized that it was real, people were using your heart and your emotions and your reality. That's not something I could do. It's one thing when you're acting.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with real connections and relationships, I cannot be a part of the toxicity that was going on. And I was naive to all of it, obviously. So much so. And that's the honest reason why I never went back.
Yeah. Did they try to get you back?
Every season.
Well, as they should have, but also they should have said, we should give you some retroactive pay since you turned out to be one of the main parts of the entire season, if not the main. That would have been a little gesture to try and recruit you back.
Yeah, I remember my last conversation kind of being something like, don't ever call me again.
I love that though. See, your season, you were iconic with standing up to the bully of the season was Stassi, and you handled it so well. Like everyone else was afraid of her, and you were just like, I can live with that. That's okay. So it's
she didn't scare me. Stassi didn't scare me. She definitely made my life very hard.
Yeah.
And she was the anger was so misplaced. There's a lot that we both didn't know. I didn't know the story I was told. If I had known that Jax had taken her dog, I would have been the one to bring her Zoe back to her.
Yeah.
At the time, Halo and Zoe were both puppies. They were the same age. And Jax told me that
So I didn't remember this dog part, but I think I do remember Stassi and them saying, Laura-Leigh stole the dog. She took my Xanax. But I don't, I'm trying to remember. So apparently Laura-Leigh thought she was taking care of a dog that Jax and Stassi shared. And that according to Jax, Stassi didn't take care of the dog when in fact that wasn't true. So he just, in his Jax way, he pits, I put it to 1.25 actually. Do you want it 1.5? You can let me know. If you want me to speed it up, I will. But so she's talking about this dog situation that occurred on the show. And if you haven't rewatched the early seasons, you're probably like, I don't know if I remember that.
It was not taking care of her. There's poop all over the apartment. Actually, when I got Zoe, she was covered in fleas. And Halo's 13, almost 14. She's never had fleas in her life. I took Zoe straight to get groomed, everything, got my place bugged, paid for all of it. And I was under the impression that Stassi wasn't taking care of their dog. I had no idea that Jax had taken Zoe from Stassi. Had I known that, when I found that out, I remember just crying because, and they were so close. Halo has never been close to a dog like she was with Zoe ever again. It's actually like breaking them up was very hard. And to this day, she's very antisocial, and I think it's because her first best friend was taken away.
Oh, and was that dog Jax's family's dog, or was it?
No, so it was
Stassi's.
Stassi. It was Stassi's dog. Stassi and Jax were living. I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
Again, there's so much I didn't know he wrote her a love letter. I was sitting outside in the truck when he went into her apartment to get. I didn't know anything, and.
Yeah, what's Bravo without a dog issue, right? I think I see Shine in the chat talking about, not about the dog again, but it's always a dog issue.
Not being a part of the friend group, being newly hired, being alone in LA, essentially I was his perfect candidate and target.
You were his perfect target, his perfect victim. So she's alone, new in LA, new there. He's going through all this drama with Stassi and makeups and breakups and the friend group. And he sees Laura-Leigh, someone he can take advantage of.
what he wanted to do. Actually, he actually asked me to help him find a new apartment. And that was our first quote unquote date. And he came over to my place because he was looking at places in my neighborhood. And we were going to look. And I was so infatuated. I was like googly eyed, like
You can be very charismatic.
staring at. Oh yeah, and I was young and dumb, and I was like, I swear to God, I walked into a pole. We were walking to the apartment to like see it or whatever, and I'm walking with him, and like I was like so like looking at him so hard, I walked straight into a fucking light pole. And I remember just being like, oh, you know, and like be like so stupid. Well, long story made short, I found out later in the relationship, he actually said to me, Laura-Leigh, I had already had my apartment.
So I just like what Jax would do, start every relationship off on a lie. So I need to find an apartment, all this stuff. He already had his apartment, just a reason to hang out with her, or just like an unnecessary lie, because it sounds like she would have went on a date with him anyways.
And I asked you to go look at that apartment with me. He said that was my way in.
Wow.
So he had already located and secured and had his new place.
I want to say that surprises me, but in a way it doesn't.
No.
I feel like now that we have seen Jax for so
That
many
doesn't
years
surprise us about Jax. He's a whole ass liar.
and his patterns, like I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I was naive enough to believe, oh, I'm helping this person, and I have a need to help. It's something I'm working very hard on to this day, knowing when to shut the door, when to say it's time for me to help me. You're old enough.
Yeah.
To find your own apartment.
Considering he was like 50 and she was 21 at the time. You know, she is like a very, very, very young adult just out of her teen years. And he had already lived in Miami and now LA and Michigan. So
21.
I was a baby.
So
And
he
I
was a
feel like
grown ass man. He could have been.
yeah. Thank
he
you.
can never be a grown ass man. No offense, Jax.
He's a changed man. Didn't you hear?
No, Laura-Leigh, no offense, all offense. Offend away, Jax.
Yeah. Yes, he is. I have nothing bad to say about Jax. One thing I will say is that he never lied about who he was. He might have lied about circumstances or situations. He never lied to me about who he was. And he kind of owns it. You have to admit he kind of
He does lead with, I'm a bad guy. You don't want me. You don't want me. But that line works to make people, you want what you can't have, right?
It works. And also, I think he's made for the lifestyle of reality TV.
Of cocaine. No, just kidding. Just kidding. No offense, all offense.
It celebrates that type of
It doesn't have any, it doesn't hit or puncture him in any way. There's a wall there and it just does not resonate.
Yeah.
She basically said he's a psychopath with no soul. And no matter what happens, it's not going to penetrate through his psychopath wall. So yeah, he doesn't have feelings like the rest of us. And that's that about that.
Yeah. I mean, he's only benefited even with the,
Okay, I'm going to speed it up to 1.5 because you guys are like, please speed it up to 2.
the cancellations
Here's 1.5.
from time. He's bounced back.
He told Lisa this is my show.
Yeah.
If I was Lisa Vanderpump, I would have slapped him
Well,
across the face, maybe thrown a shoe at him.
They did let him go after that.
Yeah. Well, and then he tried to come back.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and he didn't even have the grace to admit and say, that was what made me mad. That's what made me mad, was that you were lying on camera. But that's the only reason I called him out, because it's like, if you're gonna, be honest, then be honest.
Own it.
And actually, there's one day we were filming. I was supposed to be meeting Kristen with her dog in the dog park. Turns out that was the night that Kristen was sleeping with Jax at Jax's apartment.
Oh.
So she was late to set, like 2 hours late. And I had to go work that day. And it turns out it was that night that she was at, and that was the only night he hadn't spent at my house.
Wow.
So that I always thought, let me know if I just missed something. And thank you, Brandy, for being a member for 6 months. She says he looks like a walking STD. I always thought their sexual encounters happened at Tom and Kristen's house while Tom was sleeping and they were watching the movie Drive, but there was probably much more, more occasions where they hooked up, but I don't remember. And again, this was a while ago, but I don't remember them saying it happened at Jax's house, but maybe I just blocked that out of my memory.
And that was the night that she slept with Jax. So when it came out in second season, I was like, yes.
Well, there's a new little timeline.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, so you were friends with her and Katie and Kristen and Sheena. Did they maintain their friendship or reach out to you after they let Stassi back in the group, or were you just, all of them cut you off?
I will say that Katie is, I think, the most genuine-hearted of them all.
Did you hear that, haters? She said that Katie Maloney is the most genuine-hearted. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Emo Katie, Emo Katie.
Thank you.
You know, you're welcome.
Bling, bling, bling. Bitches is mad.
Can you believe it? Katie.
From my experience, I feel like she is who she is on the show.
Mm-hmm.
There's no put up or put on.
I'd agree with that. I mean, she's consistently Katie.
She's herself, and she was always very open and kind to me. I think Kristen, at the time, anything that would hurt Stassi was helpful for her. Tom, at the time, I think was still on the very young and what can you do for him? How can you help me? Like kind of thing. Can't believe he doesn't know what size paper comes in.
Is it Sandoval?
Do you remember that? Like, yeah, when he was like, why don't they make paper 10x7?
Yes, yeah,
the headshot. Yes.
I remember the headshot scene or their passport scene, was it? But I don't remember Tom Sandy Butt not knowing the size of paper, only to later be mad that Ariana didn't stock the batteries in the paper towels and his assistant did, who he allegedly maybe didn't pay.
You're like, oh God. Oh God, Tom.
Good memory.
But I will say, I got drunk one night at work and they were going to fire, and Tom is actually the one who was like, who hasn't been drunk here at work. Laura-Leigh's going through some things. Let me take her home. Took me to his house, put me on his couch. And it was that morning I got the call that I got the We're the Millers job.
Oh.
And so
Tom Sandoval took her home, put him on his couch. He was in the beginning stages of trying to groom and woo Laura-Leigh, it sounds like. And then she got out of there because first he acts like your friend. And then he goes in for the vagina kill. And then he blames you and is like, what was I going to do? She had her swimsuit off. She jumped in the pool naked. How could I help myself? God.
Guess what? I was very impressionable when she took all her clothes off and jumped in my pool.
You dodged a poor singing karaoke bullet there, Laura-Leigh.
I will say, like, there's good in these people. There's genuine, and even in Kristen, like, yeah, she might have been using me. Well, she was. She had no reason to let me into her world other than to use me. However, I will say that after time, you got under a certain level where you saw the person. That never happened with Jax. Now that I look back, I don't know with Stassi. We didn't have enough time. With Katie, she was always surface level. And it's just been, I ran pretty fast. I actually ran out of Sir.
Yeah, like physically you did.
I physically ran.
And also as you should have anyways, but that must
have felt really great though. That you, because it was such a high note, and it was
I remember her
not that
running.
like it was so interesting to see. I wouldn't say jealousy, but the fact that you were moving on for a successful reason, I think really hit everyone, and it was satisfying.
They were all aspiring
to us
to do what only you can do
as viewers.
Well, it was funny because I remember Stassi saying to me, "You're just dating him so you could be on TV," and I was like, "What are you talking
like, I turned the contract down.
Like how many times? Like how many shows have I been on? Like, are you crazy?"
Yeah.
But yeah, and Jax actually called me and he was like, "You ran to your car," and I was like, because I was so happy to not have to walk back into that place ever again.
Yeah.
Because even though like now I can look back and say, oh, they were doing this for the show or that for the show, everything felt very real to me. And I would have shifts where Stassi and her little crew would come in and spill drinks on me or send me hate letters through like the cooks. Like as I'm like, yeah, or like come sit in my section and like just to like berate me and like during my shifts, like these things that were so wrong. And then Jax he left. So Jax had stole Stassi's Xanax.
Of course
like her
he did.
prescription. And I was at his house and he was like, yeah, these are Stassi's, whatever. And I was like, well, can you please take those to work with you? Because I shouldn't be around Xanax at all. Like, and I was staying at his apartment that day. And I went back to sleep and I will never forget waking up and they were sitting right in front of me. And I just remember thinking, like, what a fucking douche. And then, but
Didn't he break up with her outside her AA meeting? Like she took him with her to an AA meeting, and then outside of it on the street is where he broke up with her. So he's dating someone who has who is an addict, and he's like, oh well, and he's stealing Stassi Xanax. And Laura-Leigh's being very open and vulnerable and like showing her story and only getting paid $500 and showing her sobriety journey, a little bit of that on the show. And this asshole is leaving Xanax next to her when she asks him, hey, can you take that? And what is this like? How is this guy still on Bravo? Like, he sucks. To me, he'll never be entertaining enough to excuse this behavior. Like, I am fine with them just like firing him because he's such a fucking dick. Ugh, yuck.
the time I get to work, I have all these text messages from Stassi about how I was stealing her medication.
Oh no.
What are you talking about? But it was little things like that. So I want to say that was actually the morning of going to the sauna. Yes, because Jax's truck got towed because he didn't park in a legal spot. And I went out to move it for him. And he was like, oh, I've never had anyone get up to move my car before. And I was like, just tell me where it's parked, dude. And I couldn't find it. And it was because it had been towed. What was it like for you? Because you were you were the first one on Vanderpump Rules, which really opened the door for speaking about things like this, but being really open and honest about your sobriety and your journey. How has that been for you, sharing that?
Okay, so now she's going to talk about her sobriety and her journey a little bit. And people are already kind of wondering because there was some chatter in the past year, I think, over if she was okay or not. So she's going to give us a little insight on that. Elle says, Jax is one of the devil's minions, right? He is. He's just insufferable at this point. Like, I'm over it. I hope the Valley this season is just going to be a Jax takedown. I hope we get that. We probably won't get that, but I'm over him. I don't even think he's not entertaining enough to be this big of an asshole. You know what I mean? I'm sure people will disagree with me, but I'm just so tired of this dude.
People reached out to you about that? That's a great question. People have reached out to me, and I owe the fans a huge explanation as to why I have not been verbal or responsive to any of that. It comes from when the show aired, I was in breach of contract by being on the client list with Jennifer Love Hewitt on Lifetime. So I was on 2 different networks at the same time. Mm-hmm. I was essentially legally in trouble for my job. So I shut everything down via VPR just to protect that.
Yeah.
I will say many people have reached out to me and I've responded to very few. At the time, it was hard because I was so young. So I was the only person. Mm-hmm. And then it was also hard because the way it was edited or told, it makes it sound like as if I was using meth yesterday.
Yeah.
Where I had been clean and sober years before, and that was difficult.
Yeah.
I will also say that sobriety is not a freeway that you get on that has no exits. Mm-hmm. Every freeway has exits, right? So it's like you can get on that freeway and you might drive for 5 years without getting off. And one day you might take an exit because you need gas for some reason. And I think what I have learned now in the totalness is it's not about how long have I been sober to me. To me, it's about, well, okay, so last year I was sober for 360 days. You know, this year I was sober for 340. What changed? Mm-hmm. And balancing that and monitoring it like that, because that has been most helpful to me. Yeah. AA would hate me for saying that.
I think whatever can keep you on the right track and not focusing on the fails.
It's just easier to me to go, okay, what if I look at this year as a whole? why did this change? Why was this? And then most of the time it comes back to the people who are in your life. And after doing,
I don't think analyzing what knocked you off sobriety or what'll keep you on sobriety is necessarily wrong. I don't quite understand. This is the second time I've heard her explain this. And the first time I was like, oh, that explains a lot. Now I'm like, no, not necessarily. I think, relapse is very common in sobriety journeys. And maybe she just meant not that AA wouldn't agree with her not focusing on how long you've been sober. But I also don't know what she means by that. To me, it just sounded like she was saying, and if I am sober now for 340 days, now I need to reevaluate and look at, this is just my interpretation of what she's saying. Well, how did I fall off? Why did I get off the freeway and have to get gas? Or why did I have to go to that gas station? Maybe it would be a better analogy. There's a good one, and then there's the wrong gas station to go to. And then who's in your life is, it definitely influences a lot of things. So it's interesting. Let's see what you guys are saying. Madeline says, I loathe Jax. I was so happy when he disappeared for a while. Me too. I loved it. I loved how thirsty he was to come back on, and everyone was like, no, thank you. I think about watching The Valley, then I remember who will be there. Yeah, it's just, ugh. Pamela D says, I'm happy for her continuing to work on herself. She doesn't owe anyone anything. Yes. And, the fans reaching out to you, I think is awesome. But again, you don't owe a response. Your number one goal is, yourself, your sobriety, all that stuff. Living your best life, girl.
in the show, I really felt like I could not trust.
At risk.
Correct. I felt like not only could I not trust any of them, I felt like I was on a walking plank to my own death, and it was my choice.
Yeah, that's scary.
Like, I don't know how they do it I really do not know how you can do it and put your heart out there. Katie, to me, is like a gladiator because she has always worn her heart on her sleeve and been herself, and she has made it through, even if we did have crazy Katie and her orange hair. She was always true, and Sheena's a pro at putting on the face.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes perfect sense. She's made for it, right? Kind of like Jax in a way.
Sheena's not going to like that comparison. She was made for reality TV. She's good at putting on like that fake face, kind of like Jax. She's definitely, since she's not on good terms with Jax right now, I don't think she'd ever like being compared to Jax, but yeah.
I just was not made to be false. And even when acting, it's all about telling the truth through the circumstances. So if I could hide what was going on, I would.
But it's a better channel through you through traditional acting and roles where you can find the truth in that character or person, or bring your truth and let it shine. But
when I'm going through acting, I'm not going through Laura-Leigh. I'm going through this other person's personality who acts different and talks different and moves different and speaks different and reacts and listens different. And when it's me, I have no poker face.
Yeah. Well, I think you should take that as a compliment to yourself that you're not made. Well, you are made for reality TV, but it's too detrimental, and the healthier path is.
It was not healthy. It was just bad.
And I think we're seeing that now is people are, similar to anything in life. You can even say that about professional sports and what people are finding out about CTE and different, injuries and the effects that it has long term, and how, they don't necessarily take care of, nor do they care about the life of an athlete once they're done and retired. They're like, you take the hits right now, you make us the money, you get the wins, and then go F yourself, sort of thing, when you're not profitable to them. So you can say this about pretty much any of the entertainment, unfortunately, and similar to reality TV. And we're seeing that a lot of these people have, their marriages suffer, their relationships suffer, their addictions only grow, or maybe they have their addictions under control and then they fall off the wagon, so it can be very detrimental. And it's interesting listening to someone like Laura-Leigh, who is very vulnerable. Like, she just has that, which probably makes her a very good actor, but like she said, when you're in this situation, reality TV, it had been around for a little bit when Vanderpump Rules started, but it's not where we are today, where we have this like greater understanding of kind of what's going on, but still, we're still learning. But for her to, in reality TV, she's Laura-Leigh, and she thinks she's making friendships, and that would be so hard for me. I don't think I could ever do reality TV, because I would really think like, oh, I have this friend, and then they have to go stab me in the back for a storyline or a paycheck, or because their production's pet. And I'd be like, bitch, like that would hurt. If you are someone who's more sensitive or more showing your vulnerability, and Laura-Leigh arguably was a character on the show who was one of the most vulnerable we've ever seen, to show your process through sobriety, to go into meetings, to be open and have a relationship with someone, to speak your truth, to speak from your heart and not have a facade. That's hard to do, because on these shows, it's like you have to kind of play the fake game. And there are some people, it's not everyone's cut out for it. And I wouldn't want to be cut out for it. Honestly, I would not want to be cut out for that. But I understand what she's saying here, but it's almost painful to see how, to hear still all these years later, how vulnerable she is.
Have you noticed that from when you did reality TV to what it is now? Have you noticed any changes in the way that it is? Like, do you think that reality TV has morphed since you were on? I don't know if I can answer that question, because there's so much power in editing. Mm-hmm. I just like, as like a Vanderpump Rules viewer, I feel like from season 1 to where we are now, it's just, I feel like it's evolved so much. And yes, the editing and the stories, and it's just
we had a whole storyline for a while we call Editor Gate, when it was exposed that this one particular editor was doing a bad edit on Sheena. I mean, you still do what you do on camera, but they were specifically.
I remember that. This girl did not like Sheena, one of the editors, and she admitted to and got caught giving Sheena a bad edit on purpose,
manipulating her to look bad in a certain way. And she revealed that on a podcast, and it got went to Sheena, and yeah. So you're very spot on with that they have all the power.
They have all the power, and you have to think from a producer's point of view, their one job is to find the through line. What is the through line of this season? What is the story of this season? And how can we use what we have to tell that story? And
they really made Laura-Leigh, like at the time, they made her seem just cuckoo bananas, and I'm sure her reacting to these people, like, we were once friends, and Jax gaslighting her to believe something, and her being 21 and dating him, and then all the girls turning on her rather than turning on him. That was, probably didn't help her psyche or how she kind of came off. And then painting it. I remember thinking, oh, this chick just recently must have gotten off meth. Because that is the story they kind of told, like her, sobriety is always kind of fragile, but they made it seem like she was very, very fragile in her sobriety. And Jax was just a dick to her over and over again, from the breakup to the conversations they had to the way he treated her, to him still pursuing Stassi while she's like waiting for him in the car, to what he said about her behind her back, to kind of just using her. And at 21, how would you, she's 21 at the time. Anyone could have fallen, susceptible to that, especially in LA. And this chick actually had talent and was one of the few, if not the only, who went on to do like legitimate acting roles, because she was in quite a lot of stuff.
You can tell that story with certain clips as long as you start here and end here, or only show this part. And I think that reality TV is what it is, because you have an endless well to choose from when you get to the editing. Whereas in production, we only have so many hours to catch a scene or do a scene or shoot a scene. And they do like that. You have a little more freedom and wiggle room. That's what I've been learning just in animation, how opposite the process is. And I think in reality TV, you have a little bit more hands-on to where you want the story to go. You don't need.
It's crazy because someone like Laura-Leigh, and Laura-Leigh's age, and Laura-Leigh's personality, and Laura-Leigh's vulnerability, and Laura-Leigh's perceived fragility, it is just Hollywood. They will chew that up and spit it out. And she talks about being signed with Gersh, which is a huge agency to be signed with. And the reason she didn't initially go on the show is because the agency she was signed with, her talent agency, her management said, we will drop you. And she's like, I'm not going to give up Gersh. because you wouldn't, there's like some big agencies, and if they rep you, unfortunately it's like, okay, I need to keep this because they got the pull. They can get you the auditions and the connections and the, you want to be a part of that network. But it is crazy to think how common probably Laura-Leigh's story is. And she is a little LA kind of like crystals in my vajay, and kind of with her little voice and a little bit out there, a little wacky. And just how this show was able to kind of take advantage of her, and especially with the payment. Jeez. And Jax saw her coming because he's a boozer, a user, and a loser. That's what Jax says. All right. And a sniffer, allegedly. We don't know. What do we know? What do we know? Jokes. We're kidding. But allegedly in Canada, he is very, like, he just gets his allergies, but they're different from my allergies. Allegedly. He's a boozer, a user, and a loser. But Laura-Leigh goes on to then talk about this. I'm going to fast forward it just a little bit, but she talks about an animated project she's working on. And I think she fell into where she signed with someone. So I don't know if this is post Gersh or something, where they had pretty much creative control over everything she did. And I almost fell into a deal like that, you guys. There was a guy that was like, I'll be not your manager. It was early when I was in comedy. He was coming out to my shows, and he was Howie Mandel. He was like, I was Howie Mandel's first manager, first agent, and I was, who else? Oh, Jim Carrey's first. And he was like, come meet me at my house. And I'm, 29, 30 at the time, newly into comedy. And I'm like, okay, but I brought Chell. And so he had a condo in Scottsdale because I was living in Arizona at the time. And he's like, I can help you guide your career. And I'm thinking, that's kind of what you look for when you're an actor, writer, comedian. You need representation. You need people to open up the doors. Unfortunately, there's lots of gatekeepers, and you need them to do that. And luckily I have a great manager now who's a woman. Shout out to Kim. But, I didn't know. I never had a manager. No one ever kind of talked to me about this stuff, but I knew enough not to. I was like, I'm not going. This guy was old too. So I was like, I don't know. So I'm going to bring Chell. And he sat us down in his kitchen, me and my husband Chell, and we're just early dating at the time. And he brings out these like scrapbooks of pictures and news articles with Jim Carrey and Howie Mandel. And he, was promising you the world basically. And then he said, I said, so would you be signing on like as my manager, my agent, like what? He's like, well, I'm like a consultant. So for 7 years, he said, you'll sign something that says, anything you make in those 7 years, I'll get whatever percent. I forget what percent. It was probably way too high. And I'm like, what? 7 years? Like I was already planning to move to LA. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, well, how are you going to help me get stuff? He's like, no, I'll just kind of like guide you. Like we'll check in maybe every couple months. So then I thought like, who knows from now until 7 years, what could happen or what money I could make. And he would get like, he could have got like a cut of YouTube technically, I mean, yes, he could have. I wasn't making very much. He wouldn't have got much, but any money I made on comedy shows, which I did, any tours I went on, I would be beholden to him. And I was like, 7 years, that is a long ass time. So I remember leaving going, I'm not doing that shit. And he kept calling me. And I was at Target with my husband, Chell. And finally I just said, no, like I really put my foot down. Like, I'm not going to do this. And he's like, oh, I thought you were a smart, nice girl from Minnesota. He goes, I thought you were a nice girl from Minnesota. I go, I am a nice girl from Minnesota. I'm just not dumb. Like, I'm not an idiot. And then I never talked to him again. I don't know what that guy's doing. I don't even remember the guy's name. But me and my husband, Chell, will think about that and go, but that's what they do. Hopefully they can get into someone who's new, naive, hungry, and then get you to sign away creative rights. So my point was that Laura-Leigh, she talks about getting into a situation like this where she couldn't really pitch things that she was doing. So that would be true for that guy. If I signed with that guy, any scripts I was pitching, any ideas for shows, anything would have to kind of go through him, and he would get a cut, even though he didn't do anything for me. He was just kind of consulting me. And it seems like Laura-Leigh got in a situation like that where they had creative control. So she had this animated series now, which actually sounds really good. I mean, I'm a sucker for an animated series and have tried to sell an animated series that me and my writing partner wrote. So it is hard. It's hard today to do that. But her sounds really good. It's like dinosaurs. Remember, it's animation. It's dinosaurs that owned a strip club, and now the son comes back to kind of revise I forgot what it's called. She had a cute like Jurassic something with like strippers, and the son comes back to kind of make the business popping and happening again, and they think they can do so with the help of reality TV. So like reality TV, her pitch is better. It's not my show, so I can't pitch it, and I only heard her describe it once. But I was like, Laura-Leigh, get it. Like you can tell she's very creative. She has tons of good ideas. I hope something hits for her now that she's out of this bad contract or whatever she was under that she fell into. Who knows if she fell into it during a relapse? I mean, who knows? They just take advantage of you. And she's that type of person that, they see coming at 21 years old, and they're like, similar to what they're doing to what I think was done to the Haktua girl. She got popular right away and blew up. And then all these people got their mitts into her and saw just money signs and didn't care about the longevity of her career or what she wanted. And now she's in some kind of crypto thing, and it's a mess. And it didn't have to be that way because she seems great. I mean, she's young. She, has a pod. I don't know if she still has the podcast. She could have easily transitioned into stand-up, among other things, acting. And now they're tarnishing, or her reputation is tarnished because of this cryptocurrency thing, which she probably was like, oh, okay, yeah, people are doing that. Yeah, let's do it. Who knows if she even knew what she was signing? It's like stripper dinosaurs. It's something I would watch. And she's a big fan of South Park. I'm a big fan of South Park. So that is one of her influences, I think.
Not every joke, but then when I watch it back now, I'm like, oh, that's what that was about.
You get a lot more.
So
sure. I'm gonna
remember the alien.
I'm gonna let you guys hear her pitch. I think it's good, but I like silly animation.
And imagine the chaos that will come simply from
Okay. So you're working in animation now?
Right now I am, yes.
Do you want to talk about a little bit of that?
I would love to. So I created an animated TV show, and it's about dinosaurs that work at a strip club called Jurassics.
That's a good name for a show. Jurassics. You could see that in a streaming service. You could see that. Is cartoon. What's the other one? Not Cartoon Network, but the why am I forgetting? Adult Swim. Is that still a thing? I could see her selling this.
And they're going under. They're going out of business. And the son, who just failed out of Ivy Leaf, moves home. And the son of the owner, and decides that he's going to save the club and make Jurassics 2.0. And the way to do that is by bringing in a reality TV crew.
Okay.
Which are people. Then they're dinosaurs. So you can imagine the chaos that will come simply from having a dinosaur sit in front of a human, or et cetera. And then over the season, you'll see each character have to battle and choose between which way they want to go. If they want to go with the reality show or with their heart, and it's really funny. I'm able to.
I could easily see her making that very funny, and also pulling a little, little heartstrings with her experience on reality TV. I'm rooting for you, Laura-Leigh. Okay, if I had a production company, I'd be on board. I'd be on board, girl.
Pitch again now that I'm not under contract anymore. I created this from the ground up. I hand drew these characters.
Oh my God.
So to be where I'm at.
That is très difficile, because I've written 2 animated pilots, and my writing partner's husband drew the characters for us because he's so talented. And then the other pilot, I didn't write with my writing partner, my current writing partner. I wrote it. And a guy who works in, what does he work in? A graphic artist. He drew the characters, and they did such a fantastic job. But I can't draw for shit. So that's amazing, Laura-Leigh.
Now is further than my imagination could have gone. And I think that it will also be so relatable to kids and adults, because even though, yes, it's a strip club, we don't really...
I wouldn't put that in the because with animation, they really want you either got to be freaking Gravity Falls or you got to be like South Park adult. There's no in between right now, really, for animation. It's either you're writing for children or you're writing for adults, and it's just a different world. We were told, I mean, Hollywood's forever changing, but an example was given to us by a production company saying it would be really hard to get a show like King of the Hill made today, which I'm like, what? That's an iconic, like such a good animated series. And they're like, well, that's just kind of the direction the business went. And just because they said that doesn't mean that's necessarily true, but that seemed to be our experience, is writing something like that now. It would be harder to sell, which is crazy because King of the Hill was amazing. And you would think they would want to, kind of recreate or just keep going in that vein, but no.
Anything. They're dinosaurs. It's not like you have the boobies,
Yeah, not
you
the
know?
kids, not the kids.
And because of that, I think there are jokes that the kids will laugh at the physical comedy, but the adults will laugh at the jokes that are meant for jokes to get kind of like, I don't know if you guys remember Alf.
Yeah.
Remember the alien
Alf?
and his favorite food was kitty cats, aka pussy. Oh, I didn't even know.
I didn't get that. Oh my God. I used to watch Elf and he wanted to eat cats. I was like, I love cats. But it really was pussy he wanted to eat. He was kind of a perv looking back, that Elf.
Just went over, yeah.
It probably went over her head.
I watched that in an innocent way. Correct. Yeah.
I was actually a teenager, so that's pretty sad.
Okay. So that was like her pitch, which I thought, Jurassic, it's cute. I'm a sucker for a good title, and a good title and a good pitch. She could sell the shit.
All I know is I highly doubt it's what I would be making. Honestly, I've asked myself that a lot. I think
you guys, sorry, but it was on TV. But they were all, Stassi was the ringleader, and they were all, okay, it's hate Laura-Leigh time.
And telling me, how ugly I am, and
well, that's just not like facts that they can't.
And you're just like, man, I'm just trying to pay my rent, dude. Like,
yeah, just like them. It was like, yeah.
If you could go back and do it again, would you agree to do the show? That's a very good question. That's a very good question. I've asked myself that
at a different pay rate. If you were the same pay scale, pay rate.
I've asked myself that a lot. I think if I could go back and do it, honestly, I would say, Laura-Leigh, you need to have enough confidence in your talent to know that you can say no to this and you are going to be just fine.
Well, look at what you booked. And it was regardless. Vanderpump had not aired and you already had a great gig.
But at the time,
you didn't believe
you're so in it and so young and inexperienced and desperate in a way.
Yeah.
Not desperate to be noticed, but desperate to survive.
Yeah.
That you can't see past tomorrow because you're trying to make it to the end of today.
I mean, that's true because for her, being an actor and wanting to be a working actor, you're constantly going to like auditions. Plus you have to keep some kind of job, and the auditions is a whole other job that you're not getting paid for. The time you're putting into your auditioning, and then you have to get a job where you can get the time off work to audition. Cause at any moment your agency can call you and go, you got to be over in Culver City, at noon. And you're like, but how am I going to pay my bills? So that's why you see so many actors that came from money or like Nepo baby actors, because it's a very tough grind, and hard because you're not making any money when you're doing like the auditioning and shit.
Yeah.
If I could go back in time, I would set myself down and say, Laura-Leigh, you can say no to this and you are going to be just fine. You're ahead, honey. You're already ahead. You're so far ahead. You don't even know it.
Yeah.
That is what I would say to my young self.
Yeah. Make it, more informed decision.
Correct.
$500 isn't going to make or break you. In that moment, it's everything.
In that moment, it feels like it is your life.
Oh, I remember moving to California because I'm from the Midwest too.
And I was going to go to Juilliard. And I knew that from like 4th grade. And then.
So I'll just stop it there. There's still like 42 minutes left of the interview. You guys can go give it a listen. But I thought it was so interesting to get to hear from Laura-Leigh because she's always referenced in Vanderpump lore. And we've always, I feel like I've always thought about her. She's always crossed my mind in the Vanderpump verse quite often, and how she just ran out of there and seemingly never looked back. And I always hoped the best for her. So it's very interesting to hear her perspective now on what happened and her relationship with Jax and the things, because she's never really spoken about it before. So I got to go finish the rest of it. I'll let you guys finish it. Again, it's Vanderpump Rules Party, and I linked it. Oh, no, did I not save it there? It's in the in the comments, but let me give you guys the link again if you are just joining. Vanderpump Rules Party. I hope they do more interviews like this with former cast members, maybe in like a rewatch type setting. That would be kind of cool. But here is the link for you guys to go. This is their Apple Podcast link, but they also have a Instagram, and I mean, you can find it, I'm sure, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts. So there it is. Vanderpump Rules Party. Shout out to those ladies. And their interview with the iconic Laura-Leigh. Okay, now two people that are not iconic. Jax. So Jax, I'm going to have to talk about one of them tomorrow. But Jax has his, when reality hits, and he's got these episodes that, it used to be his podcast he had with his wife, Brittany. Obviously, they're getting a divorce. And so then sometimes he comes on and does this in the mind of a man. And it's like, okay, first of all, you're not the mind I want to think that every man has. I really don't. Okay, I know we're all choosing the bear, but I still don't want to think that. So he's really trying to brand this. And I'm sure there'll be a book that he'll try to write or get a ghostwriter for, in the mind of a man. Stuff guys do. Here's how not to get duped by an asshole like me or something. And with, pretending to have some kind of self-awareness, but not really. Just trying to profit off of all of the women he's hurt and cheated on and lied to, in my opinion. So he's got 2 episodes that I wanted to cover, but we'll cover a little bit of one today. And it's his episode from December 19th. And it's with Tom Schwartz. Jax and Schwartz. When I think of like what men think, I don't put those 2 in the category. But the title is In the Mind of a Man, Ick Edition with Tom Schwartz. So they're talking about the ick. So again, it's like grandpa just figuring out the terms on TikTok. We covered one of his before, and I said we were going to roast up when he does the stupid mind of the man thing. And I realized, oh my God, I'm too behind because I am not paying attention to Jax Taylor because he's annoying as fuck. But we do like to roast him up, and I guess we'll listen to some of this. So we did this before on one of his episodes, and it was so bad. And I imagine this is going to be just as bad. So let me pull that up here. I'll speed it up again. If it's too fast, let me know. But here we go.
Anyway, so to get started here, the reason I had Tom come on this podcast is because while we were traveling together this weekend, we had a lot of funny conversations. So we came across this new term called, well, it's not new, but it's new to me. It's called the ick. And it's another term that I got from one of my favorite shows, Nobody Wants This, right? And
I love how the ick is like, it's new term. It's like, only for you, Grandpa. Only for you.
It's kind of described as, I guess, utter disgust.
Hi, Anna.
Every time, I feel like every time I say it, I kind of laugh at it. It's like, and basically, and my main question is, which we're going to get into in a minute, is like, can you come back from the ick?
And also, Jax, let's address a potential elephant in the room. You guys, some of our listeners might be thinking 2 40-year-olds doing a podcast about the ick might in itself be an ick.
Not 40-year-olds, 40 plus. Okay. Possibly 50 if Tom Sandoval was there, 77 years old. All right. So Schwartz realizes that, okay, we're going to get roasted up about this. And Jax is like, some people are like, Jax is self-aware. I'm like, no, he's not. He really thinks like, yeah, I just got this term, the ick. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. It's like,
but this is like novel to me. This is novel to us. I've never done a deep dive into icks. I'm very familiar with turnoffs and things that can make you think differently about another human being, but like, I've never done a deep dive, really indulged.
Joe is watching this. Listen to this, but not right now, but she listened to the podcast going, what does Schwartz think is the ick? And how can I not do that? So he'll unblock me, allegedly.
In the ick. So I'm kind of looking forward to this,
the last couple podcasts that I've done, I've gone over these terms that are just so new, but obviously people have been doing them for years, but now there's actually terms for them. Like I said, in the previous podcast, I was doing breadcrumbing, gaslighting, all that stuff. And so now this is a new one.
Oh yeah, last episode was breadcrumbing and gaslighting. He just learned those terms after he went to like 1 day of therapy, allegedly.
I'm trying to figure out, I mean, personally, I guess the first thing, I guess can you come back from it? I guess we'll just get right into it. Can you come back from the ick, Tom? If something bothered you, where you're like, oh, this just is utter disgusting, I can't turn away. Could you come back from it? You think?
Well, I'm an empathetic human being. I'm always growing or striving to grow and learn and forgive. And so yes, of course you can come back from an ick. We all have them. They're gender neutral, guys, girls. You know, it doesn't matter who you are. You have some icks. I'm sorry to break the news to you, but you have some icks. But of course you can come back from them.
Like for me personally, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just think, and you know, I'm aware of some of my icks. I'm aware of some icks in general.
Schwartz has a lot of icks.
Universal icks, which we can do a little a deep dive into. But yeah, another thing I don't know. I'm self-aware, but it's almost good not to be too self-aware. I've learned over my 4 decades or so on this planet, because it's like,
or so.
Oh my God, this is a tangent. If you're too self-aware, it can be a detriment to your ambition, especially if you're like one of the creative types. But anyways,
I think for me, like if I've been on a date or I'm hanging out with somebody and they do something, it's just really hard to come back from that. And I have the tendency to call people out on their icks.
The thing with Jax is he doesn't listen to his guests. He's just waiting for his turn to talk. He didn't absorb anything that Schwartz said or talking about self-awareness or being a creative or any of that stuff. He's just like, okay, well then I think then this is me talking.
Right off the bat, I'm like, can you not do that? I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't really have a filter, as many people know. And I won't just sit there. For instance, if I was on a date and a girl did something that bothered me, I'm going to come out and say, this bothers me. I'm not going to finish the whole date and just not say anything, because that's just not who I am. So I've had incidences like this where...
Sir, you were married for how many years? And you were getting the ick from Brittany. We know it. We saw it. And you toward the end, I mean, there were obviously signs that she should have left and you did things, but then you would pull her back in. So shut up. He's acting like he's so transparent. No.
You know, girls have done something that's maybe rubbed me the wrong way, or this is just not right. And I've called them out. I really have. I'm like, is this normally for what you do? Or is this normally how you act? You know,
Who are you? Who are you to call out anyone, sir?
What's that? What'd you say?
Nothing. Yeah, we know you shoot first, ask questions later.
I do, but I don't really have the patience, or I don't feel like, to sit there and like waste people's time. I'd rather just call you out on it and be like, listen, this is just not going to work. And this is like, I can't come back from that. I mean, I think for the most part, I probably could come back from it if they're like, oh, I didn't know you didn't like that or whatever. I probably could come back from it. So anyway.
Sir, we heard that you like licking sweaty feet and putting them all in your mouth. So you can't tell any woman anything she does gives you the ick. Okay? Yo, sweaty foot licker.
I Googled the term, the ick, and this is what happened. So the ick was first coined by a contestant on the UK dating show, Love Island. And
that's where all the cool terms come from. That's how you keep up on the latest lingo of the youth is Love Island. That's what I did. But now he's just like, there's this show, Love Island. Yeah, you mean the one that Ariana, I mean, there's the UK, which he's talking about, but the American one that Ariana hosts, the very successful show, way more successful than Vanderpump Rules, allegedly.
It went viral, right, on TikTok. So the exact definition of this word is a woman's sudden loss of attraction toward the man she's dating, which is weird to me, because why can't a man have the ick? So
it's abrupt, universal.
I feel like, yeah. And it later went viral, right, on TikTok. So the exact definition of this word is a woman's sudden loss of attraction toward the man she's dating, which is weird to me, because why can't a man have the...
He's trying to appropriate it. He's trying to take it from women. The definition says... it's for women, when women feel about a guy, and he's like, why can't we have it? Oh my God, hashtag not all men. I mean, he's one of those misandry dudes. Oh my goodness. It clearly says in the definition, it's not for you. It's not for you.
The ick. So it's an abrupt
universal.
I feel like, yeah.
We use different terms, but yeah.
I mean, the definition just goes straight. But it just goes straight. It says a woman. So why can't it say a man or woman? And that's what.
Because it doesn't, bitch. Because it doesn't. Because you got too much.
That's what's weird.
And you don't share.
So it's an abrupt, intense, and often irreversible, causing the woman, I'm gonna say woman/man, to reevaluate the relationship.
No, the woman.
I mean, I definitely think men can get the ick by women too. See, that's, but yeah, I mean, I had no clue, really that this term really originated from Love Island, but it actually makes sense because Love Island's so popular. So yeah, I'm sure it became huge when you basically say anything on that show, it goes viral. So,
a great tidbit. I did not know that. We can do a meta ick. By the way, if icks have become your whole personality.
Did Schwartz just develop a lisp, or am I just hearing things? It's like if icks this can be, it seems like that. Maybe he just got new teeth or something.
If you're using the word ick 3-4 times a week, if you have a go-to list of icks in your notes, that's like 30 things long. I mean, that.
Okay, of course they're gonna just take from women. We can't have anything without Jax and Schwartz and their old asses pulling up and trying to steal it and profit off of it. It's for women. Yet they're like, well, it's gonna be for us. It's gonna be for us.
Itself is an ick.
Yeah, I know. And like, you have to be a miserable human being to have that many icks. Like, can't be like, that person doesn't explore. That person just is like, I just feel like, yeah, you're right. Basically, what you're saying is right. If you have that many, then yeah, you're right. That's an ick. I mean, one or two things, come on, that's a fine. Sometimes people just don't like certain things, but to have that many, yeah, that would be an ick. So.
I would argue the ick is an intuition. It's your inner self, a woman telling the inner of you as a woman being like, no, bitch, gross. That's going to end badly. That's just a woman's intuition. And you don't have that. You have balls, sir. And your balls are putting you everywhere. Your balls are everywhere, screaming infidelities and spreading some STDs.
What about I like the universal. Maybe we could start with the general universal ones, like gender.
Well, I'm gonna get into it. So
okay, let's get into it. By the way,
so go ahead.
If you guys are wondering, if you're looking at me and my outfit's giving you the ick, I just got done working out. I didn't realize we're doing.
Schwartz is like over. He does that thing where he's like, oh, well, if you guys notice this, and I just and he's like overly not aware, as he would say, but he's overly worried about what people think about him, and you can tell he gets nervous. Like, if you're wondering what I'm wearing, and I'm giving Nick, and if you're thinking about this and all that, because he's already thinking of all the things people can say about him or rip on him for.
A visual component to this, so.
But first of all, everybody who knows you, Tom, knows how you dress at this point. You can't really. There's no everyone's just like, well, that's Tom. That's how he dresses. That's his thing. And that's what's one cool thing, about you is like, you can get away with dressing like that. Now, see, if I dress like that, people will be like, what the hell are you doing? You can do that. You can go anywhere and people will be like, oh, that's cute.
No,
it doesn't really work for me. I mean, look how you dressed for the club. You had to change like 3 times. You're like, is this okay? Is this okay? I'm like, I'm literally wearing like a button down and dress pants and a pea coat. And you came down in like sweatpants, I think some multicolored socks. Shirt that
I mean, how do I get it? And I'm 44 years old, and these two are like, I think it's when they list things like when she picks her nose. That's the ick. But these two dum-dums, Irrelevant Photon says, what I want to know is how Short's baby girlfriend feels about Lala right now. Keep an eye on him, girl. Keep an eye on him.
A shirt that was literally crumpled up in your suitcase.
That is a complete perversion of the truth. Entertaining, yes. Perversion of the truth, definitely. By the way, I've been making great strides in my fashion.
Okay, we're fast forwarding. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
A lot of men are like that, to be honest.
Yeah, and then also another ick. Just trying to present solutions in the face of someone who's really going through it, emotional and upset.
They are really taking this literally. And I also have a ick. That would be like your preferences. That's your preferences and who you want to date, or your preferences in life of I don't enjoy when I just need to talk to someone and there's providing me with solutions. I would say that is a lot of times what women would say men do. Men are, they tend to want to give you a solution, and we tell them, we just need you to listen to us. Not everything we say, we appreciate that, but not everything needs to be solved. Sometimes I just want to be able to say it, get it off my chest and talk about it. But I don't necessarily need you to go, okay, I'll build something that'll fix that. That's not always the answer. But Schwartz is literally listing off, I don't like, what gives me the ick is when somebody wants to give me solutions. What he's basically saying is, what gives me the ick is when someone holds me responsible or wants me to do something and get out of bed before noon and be a big boy. That gives me the ick.
Overly logical. It's an ick.
Oh my
God.
God.
Ick, though. I don't want to do a deep dive.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing, I'm like, serious. Here's what I'm going to say. The girl wears platform shoes. I can't handle that. I'm so surface.
How dare he? Did you just hear him? Girls with platform shoes. It's not our fault you're short. You're not tall enough to hang. You got to be 6'2", 6'3" to ride this. Okay, and we know Jax is maybe 6. Let's look up 5'9". Come on, and he's not even a short kid. He's just short. Okay, 5 foot. Oh wait, I'm putting that in. Jax Taylor height. How dare you say women with platforms? I love wearing a platform. Also, sir, I got a little plantar fasciitis, and it really helps with that, having a little bit of a lift. Okay, Jax Taylor height. 6 feet. That means he's 5'10". That's 5'10" in LA, probably 5'9". So that is your insecurities. Christine says, oh my God, wait until you hear what Jax's ick is. Is it the shoes? because I'm pissed because that's all I wear is platform shoes. But luckily, my husband is tall, so he not a little guy like you, Jax.
You're like deep diving. I'm like, well, if I went on a date and a girl was wearing platform shoes, I can't handle that. Like that would be gross.
Oh yes, Christina, you're right. Christina says, I dare you to find a picture of Jax in flat shoes. He's got lifts, just like Tom Sandoval. He got lifts. So it's good for them. So not only are they appropriating the ick, which isn't for them, they don't understand the ick. So they're talking about things that are an ick for them, which is not. It's just them being asshole men and judging women. It's just a way for them to judge women. It's not even their thing. But it's also the hypocrisy of I can wear higher shoes, but you can't wear platform shoes. He probably wants every bitch only in like stilettos. He wants people in like porn heels or something. So you first, Jax. You stop wearing your platforms, and then we will.
You have to have cute feet. Like for me, I think everybody knows that. Like you have to, and you can like I can't stand girls who wear platform shoes. It just drives me nuts. Wedges drives me crazy.
Who the fuck asked you? Who the fuck cares, sir? We don't want gonorrhea on our feet. You get out of here.
I don't like it. I don't like it when a girl wears a wedge. I know the girls love them and I'm sure they're cute, but for me, it just drives me nuts. I don't like a wedge.
Nobody gives a fuck, Grandpa. Shut up. Go fix yourself. Fix your face.
Yeah.
And it's such a surface thing compared to you. You're like philosophical. You're like getting into it. You're like, her brain and this and that. I'm like, I don't really like it when a girl wears a wedge.
The yin and the yang. No. By the way, I was starting a little deeper, but we're gonna get progressively more shout.
Yeah, no, I got a list.
Of course you have a list.
The holiday season demands stamina, shopping.
He's like, if a bitch has any fat on her body, I can't stand it. Ick. This is embarrassing.
I've seen you lose it personally.
How are they not embarrassed?
You gotta have good personal hygiene.
So he thinks this dude is so dumb. Dumb. So dumb. Now he's talking about personal hygiene. That's the ick for me. If she doesn't brush her teeth. Like, what? Sir, you will fuck anything. We've watched you on reality TV. Literally anything. Okay? You will have sex next to elderly people on hospice, allegedly, on the floor. And now you got standards? Sir.
In terms of the icks women get versus the icks men get, that makes more sense. Sorry. Okay, so women get the ick from guys that have, and I wrote this down, okay? Personal hygiene, that's a given. I think that's a given. That goes both ways. You got to have good personal hygiene. I know this one is a big one for you, Tom. They're rude to the waiter.
Oh my God.
You hate that. I've seen you lose it before. I've seen you lose it personally.
Kylie.
So people that are rude to waiters. Like I've seen you go off. So I know that's a big one for you.
I will publicly shame you if you are rude to a waiter. And also, I get the ick when people complain about tipping. I know like tipping culture has gotten out of control.
They are just completely taking this down a path that this isn't the ick. This is just them finding a way to be like, I don't like bitches who do that. The podcast should be called, I don't like bitches who do this. And then they name this. This is not the ick.
I don't know what the solution is. We all deserve a good living wage, but like, it is what.
Oh, shut up. Liz says he shits with the blood. Yes, you shit with the door open. You pick your nose. You suck on dirty feet. You have sex with anybody. Bro, stop.
It is for now. And when I go out with someone and they complain about having to tip, or they see how much I tipped and they're like, that's too much.
Oh, Lavender Girl, great point. Didn't he just say people with a list of the icks were miserable, or just women? Yep. Just women. Just women having opinions and having standards is disgusting to Jax. And also wearing platforms. Those are my shoes, bitch. Take them off.
Or shouldn't be tipping. First of all, minimum 20%, even if the server's a complete asshole. Maybe I'm part of the problem. But it's like, I know, maybe I always give people the benefit of the doubt in the service industry. Maybe they had a really...
Why do you think that's a novel idea to tip 20%? We're all doing that, dick face. If not more. What are you talking about? Schwartz.
Bad day. Maybe they just broke up with the love of their life. You know, I try to give people the benefit.
I'm just fast forwarding through Schwartz because he is just bullshit. Like everything he says, he tries to be like, and I'm the nice guy and I give them the benefit of the doubt. Oh, wow. Maybe you should have started in your business paying the wait staff a living wage and not having them rely on tips, because obviously the tip system in this country isn't necessarily always working for everybody. Why didn't you just pay them more, sir?
2%, and they think like you're an asshole if you don't give it to them, even if they don't earn it. I'm sorry. We're both in the industry. We've both been in the industry for a very...
Jax wants you to earn your tips. We saw you work in a bar and you sucked. You didn't even know how to make half the drinks and you were rude to people. But now you're going to hold a standard to people in the service industry. Oh my God.
Long time. You know, sometimes I wasn't in a great mood and I didn't get a good tip, but I wouldn't bitch about it. It was my fault. I should have went above and beyond. I think people should go.
You never even went above. You never even went on par. You never even went even a little bit below. You were down in the valley so low. You did no.
Above and beyond if they want the full tip and not more. I just do. Just to give money is.
I don't disagree. I'm taking my glasses off for dramatic effects because I'm kind of ashamed of this one. It's more of a confessional to you, Jax. Okay. There's one person I always gripe about tipping more than anybody else, and I totally understand their service and their utility. It's the bathroom attendant. Like I get it. It creates more of a premium feel, upscale. They keep the traffic flow going, and it's nice. They have colognes, gum. But like sometimes I just want to take a pee, wash my hands myself, and go out. And I'm like, but you got to throw them at least a $5 so you don't feel like a dirtbag.
Plus, you're on TV, and you're overpaid on TV. If you ask me, maybe not the first season, but now you guys are making good money. So yeah, you can tip a bathroom attendant. He's like, sometimes I just want to pee. Well, I'm sure your pee is stinky. I bet you have asparagus pee 24/7. Okay, beer pee, asparagus pee. You probably dribble on the seats. You sound like one of those men, you know? If you sprinkle when you tinkle, be a sweetie, wipe the seatie. And you do not. You're not a sweetie and you don't wipe the seatie. So then they got to get in there and wipe that up. You should be dropping 20s every time you take a piss because I'm sure it's very annoying whenever you're in the bathroom to a bathroom attendant.
Who has cash on them anyway? Is anybody carrying cash anymore to throw a $5? I'm not. I don't carry cash at all.
And if I don't tip them,
They probably have Venmos. Everywhere now, old man, there's a scanner. How do I know this? And these guys
feel like shit for at least 30 minutes afterwards.
I know.
So
man, they're so aggressive with those breath mints.
Like
take the hint.
They're so sweet. They offer you something.
They're like, your breath smells a little bit like cocaine. Is that a little hint of Adderall? No. Okay. Maybe you want a mint, sir? He's like, what?
You have to take it, but you can't take it just without, some love. And anyways, I have love for all the bathroom attendants. I can't imagine the things you've smelled, the things you've seen. But sometimes I just want to wash my hands. That was a little.
Oh, Schwartz. This is what he does. Is like, I'm a nice guy, but sometimes I don't want my hand. I don't want my hands.
I don't want to spend all this money. And then when you go across the CVS or the Walgreens and you see a 3-in-1 for $4.99 and you're on a budget, I'm taking it.
It's good to be mindful with your spending, frugal, but being cheap is a no-no. And yes, Jax, before I roast you, I will say you have a great cologne shampoo collection now. You're on a different level. But like back when I lived with you and you used to shit with the door open every single day, you definitely were rocking a 3-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, body deodorant.
100%.
He is Pert Plus. That's Jax. He knows all about that. He was the original spokesperson for Pert Plus. You get the shampoo, the conditioner, and you can wash your balls with it, according to Jax. Irrelevant Photon says, do strippers take Apple Pay these days? Yeah, there's just a scanner. There's a barcode. Put a barcode on my booty. That's what I would do.
I was a huge Axe guy. Big time on the Axe.
Shocker. True Religion, Axe, vests over t-shirts, douche.
I love it. No, Axe. Axe had the 3-in-1, if you remember. Axe was the 3-in-1. Also used, I did the 3-in-1. And I think there was another one, like what's the dandruff one that had the 3-in-1 too, the white bottle. Yeah, I was when me, you, and Tom lived together, any way to cut or save a buck. I didn't care. Shit, I think I was borrowing Tom's razors at some point. I think I was using his bar soap. I mean, there was times where I was like, we don't have any freaking money. There was times where, we ate once a day, for God's sake. So.
No, you're 100% right. We can do a whole episode on that, by the way.
I know.
Please don't.
Next time we do one, we can do.
Please don't. Why do all these guys, whenever they get podcasts like Sandoval or Jax, they always drag Schwartz into it, and you can tell he doesn't want to be there? Because that's what Sandoval did with his podcast. He had laptop boner Jason for a while, and then he invited his girlfriend Victoria. But for a while, he was making Schwartz sit there, and Schwartz is not a good podcaster. He doesn't bring anything to the table. But yet they keep dragging him there. It's like they weekend at Bernie Schwartz into these podcast situation where he's like, now I'm going to talk about how I wear socks and sandals and mismatched clothes. And then we can talk about how when we were poor, nobody cares. Please stop.
Go deep dive into the early days when we were all living together. But I appreciate your redirect, but you can't just gloss over the fact that you used to shit with the door open. That's a massive ick.
Yeah,
first of all, it's not in those days. Do you remember when I was doing that? We didn't have our phones. We didn't really bring our phones with us to the bathroom, because those were the BlackBerry days. I really wasn't going you're talking. So I needed to talk to somebody while I was going to the bathroom. There's only so many magazines and shampoo bottles I can read. Now I want to talk.
Actually,
I gotta move on. So a man who talks about their ex too much. That's an ick. That is an ick.
Yeah. That's definitely. I mean, yeah, I've been guilty. We've probably all.
I've been guilty of doing that.
I can date or when you're getting to know someone. If you've let your ex consume 80% of the conversation, even though it's relatable. I mean, yeah, man. Honestly,
you might as just walk away. They're constantly on their phone / bragging about themselves.
That's Jax.
Well, being on your phone is a big one, especially today. I think back in the day when we were dating, it wasn't really a big deal, but today it's a big deal. Today's a big deal. I mean, I think in the beginning days, like when we were dating, like I said, when me, you, and Tom lived together, we were really never on our phones in those days. But now you're on a date. I feel like if you go to the bathroom or something, that's an instant time to check your phone. If you're not away, you're checking your phone. Or if a guy says, "Hey, do you mind if I check my phone?" Like for me, for instance, I am not dating now, but if I was to go on a date, I need to check my phone to make sure that, I have a child now, so I always have to check my phone to make sure something like that. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
If you say it like a disclaimer in the beginning, "Hey, just to let you know, if I get on my phone, it's just because I need to check it in my son or something like that." Like that's fine. But if you're on it constantly and checking Instagram and scrolling, yeah, that's a problem.
It kind of passive aggressively, almost like in a disinterested, I can't be bothered sort of way. No, but like if you're going to be on your phone a lot, just be self-aware about it, acknowledge it.
Schwartz, you're dating a fetus. She's on her phone when you're having sex, I'm sure. Like and shout out to her because she's bored, and you just can't throw Lay's potato chips at her, okay, like you used to, and think that was hot. But you literally are dating someone fresh out of high school and who's on their phone all the time. So I feel like Schwartz is talking about this because this is what's going on in his life currently. Christina says, "Sir, these are preferences." Exactly. Not icks. Men don't know what icks are because women have none. Only men are icky. Yes. And it's not in its definition that they read. It's not for men. It's for women. They're appropriating our lady culture, you guys.
This is a huge one for me. And I cannot, in fact, we had this problem. I think it's because we sat economy, but this is a really, really big thing for me is when people clap when we land and when people talk loud on the plane or / in an elevator. Like nobody wants to hear your fucking conversation. Nobody.
Bro, I guarantee he's a loud talker. He's a Billy Bush loud talker. I was once in a store on Melrose with a guy talking so freaking loud. And I looked over at Chell like, who the frick? And it was freaking Billy Bush. Mr. on the bus, grab her by the pussy with Trump. And he's like, "I'm getting close to going to a 70s party." And I'm like, we were at one of them like vintage stores on Melrose, clothing stores. And he's like, "Because I'm going to a 70s party." I'm like, "Sir, you were alive for the 70s. You probably still have things you can wear. Don't act like this is some novel thing. And we don't all need to know the party you're going to, Billy Bush." How that dude got his job back too. I'm like, I thought we got rid of him. And now I see him shouting on extra. Ugh, he annoys me too.
You're on a plane and you're talking on the phone. Like that is like, it makes me embarrassed. Like I'm so embarrassed when people are talking in an elevator or they're talking on a plane. Like I cannot handle it.
No, it grates on my nerves for sure.
I can't. Like I get embarrassed for them doing it. They'll be talking about like for instance, this girl was talking about, "I can't wait to land in LA and get a 7-Eleven hot dog," and she's yelling across the whole plane. And I was just like, "Oh my."
Of course it's a woman. Some girl was yelling across the plane. You're loud right now. Your inside voice is loud. You screaming into a microphone and saying you're a podcaster is the same thing. That's the same thing we think. Like, why are you doing this? This is like you just like shouting out in public. We don't understand why this is happening.
God, shut up. Like, shut up. It was so like, I'm looking around. I get embarrassed when other people do stupid things. So it really, really embarrassed me. Okay, here's a big one. A lot of girls have this. I'm calling out the ladies. And I'm going to call because, I dated pretty much every girl I've been with had this issue.
I thought I was going to say, I pretty much dated every woman.
Like, I'm looking around. I get embarrassed when other people do stupid things. So it really, really embarrassed me. Here's a big one. A lot of girls have this. I'm calling out the ladies. And I'm going to call because, I dated pretty much every girl I've been with had this issue. A messy car.
That's a good one. That is a good one. It's a massive, listen, not even in a sexual way, but it's just a turn off. And I don't like the slippery slope people. Maybe they're going through a depressive state, but like you see someone with a filthy car with like Arby's cups, maybe like some Doritos or like a Cheeto down in the side there.
That honestly is how I picture Schwartz's automobiles, bedroom, bathroom. We saw your apartment, Schwartz. It was yucky. You and Joe living there like you were teenagers. You barely had anywhere to sit. But what? That's like how I imagine it looks in your head, in every space you have, in your Corolla.
It's the seats.
A fossilized French fry from McDonald's from 10 years ago.
Like, I'm gonna give them some grace. Maybe they're struggling, but like, it's hard not to extrapolate and be like, this person does not have their shit together. You know, like, I'm gonna lift up their toilet seat and there's gonna be shit spackled all over it.
Again, I feel like Schwartz is just talking about himself. Do you guys not think that when you go to Schwartz's house, like he's just shit speckled toilet guy? He never struck me as like Mr. Clean, puts grease on the run. Like never. Is he just explaining himself?
That's
okay. So first of all, with the car, like when you see a girl's car like this, now here's the thing. I'm going to give a little bit of a break in LA because I know in LA you have 25 different things going on today. You have auditions. You got to go right to your restaurant. You got to go back. You don't have time to go home. So you kind of live out of your car more or less.
Yeah,
but
extremely
going to a girl's Honda
specific.
Accord, okay, and opening that door and you see that mess, it kind of sets the.
So going in a girl's Honda Accord because you know he's not dating anyone more successful than him. Nothing wrong with the Honda Accord, but if he's in LA and he's been in the business this long, you think he'd be dating a woman that has a little more of a luxury vehicle. I mean, I got a Honda, but that fits my lifestyle. But of course, he's probably dating young, trying to date young baby women.
Like the precedent of like, is this what your life is like? Is this what you are? Are you this unorganized? Why do you have 100? Why are you 35 and you still have your high school graduation dangling from the rearview mirror? Like that? Why? Like we get it. You graduated high school.
You just admitted you're dating teenagers. You realize that, right? People who have their high school graduation thing have that because they recently graduated. You're like 50. Show me a 50-year-old, 40-year-old, 30-year-old that has that. 25-year-old. You just admitted you're dating teenagers. He just literally.
And I'm like, is this what your life is like? Is this what you are? Are you this unorganized? Why do you have 100? Why are you 35 and you still have your high school graduation dangling from the rearview mirror? Like that? Why?
Because she's not 35. And you know it, Jax. Call the police. We got a Diddy situation going on.
Like we get it. You graduated high school and you're 35 years old, and you know, like there's just certain things that drive me crazy. Like stuff everywhere, makeup everywhere, shoes and wedges all over the car.
Not wedges. Oh my God. Where did wedges hurt you? Like, show me where wedges hurt you, Jax. Christina Coca says, I am drying up by the second listening to this. Total desert down there. Sahara desert, tumbleweeds rolling by. Rolling down my tumbleweeds. Yeah, it's just when women listen to this, our baby doors sew themselves shut. You just can't get a lady boner for this.
Clothes. Yeah. Your apron from Outback Steakhouse is crusty in the back seat. You got leftovers underneath your seat from 3 days ago. Like, oh, it's gross.
You're gross.
Wayfair has everything you need to create a holiday magic.
Not Wayfair.
At your Wayfair, I swear the it's coming out, and it's just like you feel it. Like you said, you feel it. Like you almost want to go take a shower right after you talk to them.
You guys, I'm not gonna, you can feel the hotness in drunk people. They don't bother me. I don't mind clingy people, but like I swear there's a direct correlation between how bad people's breath is and how close they want to be when they're talking to you. They want to be up in your ear. Like you can feel the hotness and the stink of their breath on your face. And
we get it a lot. We get it a lot, you and I, because obviously people are coming up to us and talking to us and asking questions and pictures and stuff, and they want to tell us their life story.
Dude, people said the Toms were tinky. Are they talking about Tom Sandoval? Because people say he is tinky, like extra tinky. He doesn't own a toothbrush tinky. Not just natural deodorant tinky, but like tinky.
And it's always those people with the breath that's so hot. And like, like spit's coming out. And it's just like you feel it. Like you said, you feel it. Like you almost want to go take a shower right after
I hope people are spitting on him.
you talk to them.
You guys, I'm not going to make this pity party, but like one of the pitfalls of being in this industry in the past 5 years, I think I've had COVID like 37 times.
Yes, Lisa. Well, stay home. No one said you had to go make money and go out to these bars. You could make money other ways than going and partying, allegedly, in Canada. And what is up, Canadians? I love you. But why are you guys really requesting the Toms and Jax to do appearances at your local restaurants and clubs and bars? Are they just like assuming you want that, these club and bar owners? What is going on? Because they're always in Canada, and there's always some rumors about, just like sniffing the table. Just a bunch of table smellers, allegedly. But Canada, you can say no, right? Like, they don't have to come into your country, and they don't have to ruin your restaurants and bars and clubs. You don't have to have them there. Do we need to talk to someone? Do we need to talk to Justin Trudeau or whatever his name is? Do we need to have some conversations? And yes, Lisa, Baby Door just packed up his wedges and left the building. The Baby Door said, I'm out of here.
Just from being so close to people coughing on me and sneezing on me. By the way, I still love you. It happens.
No, it happens. I get it. But be a little bit self-aware. What bothers me is their friends don't tell them. How did you go through this whole time in life and not one of your friends had told you? How many times have I told you, Tom, or you told me, dude, you smell, you stink, you go take a shower, your breath smells, you can't, I would never not tell you that because I'm with you. The last thing I want is to hang out with somebody whose breath fucking stinks. So I would call you out on it. It just shocks me how many girls, their girlfriends don't tell them that they either have body odor or their breath stinks. Why? Jack, how did you get along? How did you go through life this long and nobody's told you this?
Well, they could just be having a bad day. We all have.
How do you not smell? There's some people how do you not smell it on yourself? Anyway, next one.
How do you not know anything about yourself? How do you present yourself in the world like this and not realize how you really present? The least of your worries is some stinky breath, and you're probably just smelling your own, sir.
And this one is like, I feel like people are going back to this now. And yes, in my younger days, this was an ick. People that live with their parents. Now, I don't know if you've seen on social media, obviously things are out of control with inflation. Things are costing a fortune nowadays. A lot of people are moving back in with their families.
Jax is starting to get us. He's starting to prime the pump of, I'm going to have to move back in with my mom, who I don't talk to. I'm going to have to start talking to her because he's made some bad financial decisions, allegedly.
That bother you? Was that an ick? I mean, for me, if a girl lives with her mom and dad, I don't think that's a problem. If a man lives with his mom and dad, that's a problem.
Listen, I think at this point to say in this economy is almost like fucking trite or whatever. But I mean, I get it. Like, dude, as I get older, I'm so much more empathetic and understanding, compassionate. I know that's a boring take, such a lukewarm take. But
I don't think it is. If any girl I met right now, if I was to go on a date right now and she lived with her mom and dad, I would be okay with that. Dude, I know how expensive.
Because you date teenagers. You're a predator, allegedly. The predator. He's like, no, I have to say that because every girl you try to date still lives with her parents. Sir, we heard what you said. And Christina says, didn't Schwartz use a lemon garnish on his armpits in season 10? Yeah, he did.
There's to live here. It's cost a freaking fortune. But in my opinion, I don't think a man should live with his family. That's just me. At our age.
Listen, if you're super successful.
I can't wait until Jax moves in with his mom. And you tell this to Sandoval that you don't think a man should take from his mom's retirement $250,000. Maybe you should just be doing this and talking. This feels like a Jax and Schwartz and Sandoval intervention. They can have just a circle jerk intervention because all this stuff is more about you than any of the ladies.
Well, it's a failure to launch scenario. I love that movie. McConaughey is pretty cute, but no, it's just usually not a good look. And I think it's a turn off for you.
Schwartz, you are failure to launch. That's your middle name. Schwartz, failure to launch Tom, or Tom, failure to launch Schwartz, whatever you're going by these days.
Universally for most women. But if you're taking care of your sickly mother or father,
yes, or you had a successful business and all of a sudden it failed, and you're working on getting back up again. This is kind of just maybe a stepping stone to get another thing.
Kind of like Tom Schwartz and Tom Sandoval. I mean, it was never successful, but it's failed. And maybe like Jax's place, the backyard alley bar that you have. I mean, they're just talking about themselves, you guys. They don't know.
Basically, I'm just saying, if you're just doing it just to do it, like I'm living there, I'm not really trying to go anywhere. If you you had a job issue, you lost your job or whatever, and you're in transition, I can deal with that as a guy. I can deal with that.
Sorry, Sarah.
Well, I like that. I like the way you ended that. Jax, I got one for you. I know you got a list. I got one for you. This is going to cut deep, okay?
Okay.
You ready?
Oh my God, I'm nervous.
Okay, Jax. And by the way, fuck the grammar police, defund the grammar police. But I do get the ick when people don't know the difference between TO to TOO and TWO. Your.
Well, then you have to date older people, okay? Because I don't think you learn that till 10th, 11th, maybe 12th grade. So that could just be that they're just not at that level yet, education, and you're too old to be dating teenagers. That's disgusting.
I do know it, but sometimes, here's the thing. I have huge hands and I type fast. And sometimes the information comes out faster than my brain can process. Do I do this? Yes, we all know about the boys chat, okay? Everybody tells me that they have to decode my messages because the majority of the time they don't make any sense. That's because I'm always in a hurry because I know you're talking to me about this, okay? Not only do that, do I have big hands, okay? So I don't capitalize my eyes. I have run-on sentences. I don't give a shit, okay? I don't care. I know what you know what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying. So I got lazy with it.
Quick lesson. TOO.
Was that just a way for him to brag about his huge hands? Thank you, Chickenhead, PK, Dorkface, Neely for the super chat. They are clueless. They're so clueless. Yeah, it was just a way for him to be like, I have huge hands. I have huge hands.
Sworn, I know the number 2.
Tiny brain, huge hands.
It means it's never meaning as well or in excess. Just remember when there's an extra O, it's extra.
Oh, shut up, Schwartz. Seriously, you do not have anything together to be telling anyone about the grammar police. Okay, go talk to Sandoval and tell him to pay his mom back.
All right, it is an ick. If someone's overly clingy or smothers you, which by the way, I've been on both sides of the coin.
Me too.
I've been clingy, and I know. It's it's such a bad feeling.
It bothered me when they were clingy, but then it bothered me when they wouldn't show me a lot of attention. It went both ways for me. Like I was like, wow, this girl hasn't called me in a week. But then again, I'm like, God damn it, this girl calls me every single day. Like I've been in both ends of it. I feel like there's got to be a happy medium somewhere. They lack clear and effective communication skills. That's a huge one.
That's you. That is literally you. You talk and run on sentences. You talk in circles. You're like, you don't listen to people. That's you. And Schwartz too, because he's like, like Lala said before she again developed a crush on him. Fingers in my mouth, nervous, fingers in my mouth. That's literally you too.
Well, on that, I'll say that I was on the treadmill earlier going through some icks, and I was reading some more specific niche ones, and someone said when a guy can't find his words or jumbles his words, and he's just like, I can't talk today. And I was like, that one hurt. That felt personal because I have those moments after hosting at the bar for like 3, 4, 5 hours, being hyper socialized. I'll come home and I can't string together one more sentence. But I do kind of agree is a little bit of an ick. Maybe one of my icks that I ick.
I mean, we've seen you and I talked to you many times, and you on Watch What Happens Live, you and I have been.
Oh, Cammy, yes, I think Schwartz is referencing Joe as clingy. Joe's not gonna like this.
Down there many times. 90% of the time when you talk, I don't know what words you're using. You use really big words. You use them correctly. But I don't know what the fuck you're saying half the time. So I'm saying you're an intelligent guy, and you know you use big words, and I just always just nod my head. I'm like, because I know what you're saying. So but I'm getting it. You know, I've gotten into both times where we've been out, and we're just like maybe after a few cocktails, you're like, I just can't put a sentence together right now, and you're trying to sound intelligent, but you can't. You know?
After a few cocktails and what else? A few cockies and what else? What else?
Or if you're nervous, especially when you and I do a lot of interviews, you know, and we got to talk about certain topics. And we can't form a sentence, and you want to say something, and then usually when the interview's right over, you're like, damn it, I should have said it like this. That's annoying.
Karen, make it
speaking, I guess men who speak poorly about other women. That's a good.
Yeah. And also like I would have loved to poll your listeners to hear like.
Wait, did you say men who speak poorly about other women? That's you two. And Tom Sandoval. That's like what you do. Angela Clark Little says yelling at your spouse does not equal great communication skills. It does not. It certainly does not equal great communication skills.
Words that men use to describe female anatomy that give them the ick. That would have been a great.
Yeah,
I refer to like a vagina as a puss.
I hate that word.
I'm sorry. What? What did you just say? What did you just say? Oh my god! It literally is so embarrassing. Schwartz just said a puss. I'm sorry, a puss? Are you talking about what people call you? I don't know. When do men go, yeah, I'm gonna get that puss?
I hate that word.
Puss in boots?
Like I've used the word like, hey, you're being a pussy, but I don't like it to I don't want it to be associated with the female part. Like unless it's like a real, I mean, you gotta be like in a real intimate moment and you're having fun and you're getting real dirty, fine. But I just don't like that word. I just don't like it to use like that. Like we use the word pussy as in like, man, your buddy's out there. I'm like, oh man, don't be a pussy. Like I say it that way, but I don't mean it in the.
Also, it should be don't be a baby ball. Don't be little shriveled up testicles. Because pussies are strong. They create life. I don't know why it's used as a sign of weakness. Like why that word in particular?
Vagina sense of it. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean it as in like.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And also like, I don't care how wealthy, how successful you are. I don't care what empire you've built. If you're a dude, a bro, a man, and you're out describing women or potential mates as talent, unironically, unironically referring to women as talent, you are a douchebag.
Yes.
I think he's talking about Max. Who says it? Is this from like a cliched like teen movie or a douchebag, frat house movie? If you refer to ladies as talent, I bet you Sandal says that. What? You know people like this? Besides yourselves, of course.
I mean, you're a dork too. You're a fundamental.
We know a couple guys who talk like that. We know a couple guys.
People say it ironically with a self-awareness, which it makes it funny. You know what I mean? But
when it said ironically and it's funny and getting some talent. Like what? What? That is like bad writing on like a dude bros comedy. I'm gonna get some talent.
People use it unironically and like earnestly. It's like, bro, come on.
No, and everybody I know that uses that or has used that are still single and can't find a girl for the life of them. Like
that's like you, and you're both still. Are we in the upside down? You're both. Both of you were married. You went through divorces. You could have had great lives if you weren't so fucking selfish and cheaty and gaslighty and gross. And if you would have just grown up and been actual men. But they're talking about other guys. You can't even talk shit about other men when you are like the worst.
The people that use it, you can tell they use that word. They're, the reason why you're single, the reason why you're a loser is because you refer to the word, you use the word talent when you describe it.
I guarantee Randall would talk about women as the talent, I think. And I'm sure Jax participated in that. And Jax has got to take his dig because he's not man enough to get his money back from Randall. Because according to Lala and according to Jax, I think according to Sheena, Jax sees Randall sometimes at the school dropping off Ocean. And he's real friendly with him. The guy who he alleged stole that money from him, $75K he didn't have. And he goes and hugs him.
I hate that. You're right. That's another one. You're right.
Obvious one, real quick, 10-second obvious one. People who don't like animals. People who don't pet my dog when they come in the door. Jax, you did that the other day. I know.
I love dogs. I do. I love them. I've had two.
Oh, God. I don't want Jax to have dogs. I don't want him to have anything that requires like love and compassion and patience. He's not cut out for that. Leave the dogs alone.
Don't get me wrong. I love them.
No,
if they come up to me, I'm going to pet them. I'm just not like a dog animal. We talked about this the other day. I'm thinking about getting a fish for Cruz because he had a fish and it passed away.
Please don't. Please don't. Leave the fish alone. Go to a fish concert. Don't do this. Don't do this.
Okay. And he's got two dogs. I was thinking about getting a fish. I'm just not an animal guy. I'm just not. Ooh.
Yeah, that's because you're a serial killer. People who say that, serial killers.
No, I like animals. Don't get me wrong. I would never hurt an animal or do anything. I'm just not the kind of guy that has a dog. I'm too busy to be able to take care of one. And I just think that's good. I don't want to have a dog in the.
But are you too busy to pet Schwartz's dogs when you come in? No, Jax.
That's it. So I'd rather just not have a dog. Rather, I don't mind dogs, but yes, I have been guilty not to pet your dogs, and I'm sorry.
Okay, I like this stuff.
This one here is a big bugaboo for you. I know that. Dramatic arguing and picking fights. Oh, I think we both.
That's you too. That's you too. I know they want to paint Katie like that. They want to paint Stassi like that, but you two literally lied to them, cheated on them, made them feel like they were the problem. Let your friends talk shit about them. But yeah, they're the dramatic ones.
With that.
Well, it depends. It depends. Sometimes it's valid, but like, listen, if I'm on vacation, first, that's okay.
If he's on vacation, he might throw a drink on his beloved. Okay? Or call her a psycho.
One of my top 5 icks. Getting mad on a vacation. There's not many reasons in the world I can see to get mad on a vacation. And also like, and maybe I've been guilty of this too, but like, I don't know if I should say this one. It might be controversial, but like having experienced this a lot, letting someone who can't figure out what they want to wear sabotage an entire night or make you an hour and a half, 2 hours late. I get it. Sometimes you just don't feel sexy. You don't feel good in your own skin and you don't want to go out. There's some deeper rooted issues, but like if you have plans that's been in the books for a month and the night of you cannot decide on an outfit, you're an hour and a half late and you're crying. I'm going to be sweet still, but like get your shit together, man. I'm gonna
Probably because, they're having panic attacks for other reasons, having to put up with your ass. And I love how his priority is like, we got plans to drink. We said we were going to be drinking. We're going to be getting lit. We're going to be going to Mexico, passing out on the beach, disappearing where no one knows where you are in another country, and then reappearing like, what up? Like, you could take a night off drinking and be with your significant other if she is at the point where she's not feeling good and she needs a boost of confidence and she needs to feel the love. Maybe she doesn't want to go out and get drunk and have you disappear or cheat on her, you know, or fall on another vagina when you're blacked out. So that would be like the mature thing to do in that situation, which neither of these guys are, would be to check in with your beloved. Are you okay? Let's sit down, because the bars will always be there. Okay. And now you guys are pushing it. You are now the guys at the bar who have become the joke and the punchline to the young, hot women, because you don't belong there. You're like, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. No, you're like those guys at the bar. And it's sad. And you go, oof, cautionary tale. And no one's going to get with it unless they want to take the money they think you have. But otherwise, it's like, oof, no. So you could just sit with her, check in with her, say, let's stay in, baby. Let's put some comfies on and just cuddle. You're beautiful. But no, instead he's like, she stopped me from drinking. I want to get drunk and crunk. And he's going to say, get your shit together. Sir, you are rolling out to the club in like adult diapers. Okay. You clearly don't care what you look like, and that's on you. But there are different pressures for ladies, and the ladies you're with probably don't feel secure at all because you don't create an atmosphere or a situation of security and love. That's for sure.
But like, it's not that deep. Throw on a hoodie and a hat, call it a day.
One of my favorite things to say.
This explains Joe so much. Because remember how Joe was like, I wear hats. I just wear hats and I wear hoodies and I'm different. I don't wear makeup. It's probably because she heard this shit from Schwartz. Because oh my God, right, you guys? Because she works in the beauty industry. She literally is paid to make people look beautiful through their hair and things. She works in Hollywood, make you feel beautiful. And all of a sudden she was like, I don't even care about that. I just throw on a dirty hoodie with like clam chowder stains on it from 2 months ago. I found on the corner of, Santa Monica and Piss Street. And I just wear it. And I don't care if my hair's like this. I just wear a hat, throw on a hat. And so that's what Joe then based her whole personality and her whole look around that with Schwartz. So he clearly probably complained about that with Katie. And she's like, oh, no, I'm not like that. I'm not like that kind of girl. I'm like a whatever. Like I just like barely, I'll have half my sweatshirt on. Let's go, baby. Like, I don't even care. I don't even have to brush my teeth. And he's like, well, brush your teeth, though. Brush your teeth. But doesn't it seem like Joe probably heard this? And then that's why she just clung on to this. Like, they made fun of me because I wear hats. And how she always was putting down the other women like, oh, they have hair extensions or they have makeup or they have this or they have that. When we clearly see her wearing makeup, but it makes so much sense now. It's just like that pick me. And Tom Schwartz was like, yeah, you know what I like about you, Joe? You just like leave the house wearing the hamper. I love it. And she's like, okay, cool. That's awesome. Oh my God. I smell myself. So Joe is making so much more sense because I was always wondering, like, why is she trying to separate herself from just like hygiene or the beauty industry when you work in it? You can't hate it that much when you chose to be in it. And you yourself, I've seen you look presentable. And then you came on Vanderpump Rules and you were just like, I don't even care. And it's probably because she thought she could keep Schwartz that way. But even he had a girl that was willing to just walk out the door in a hoodie and a baseball cap, and he still left her.
And I said this so many times, and believe it or not, I don't know why in the world, but people do ask when I do my cameos, one of the biggest things people ask me is like, do you have any wedding advice? I'm like, first of all, I am the last person that should give any marriage advice, any wedding advice. But when I do, jokingly, I always say,
nobody's going to ask him for wedding advice. They probably say, I want to do the exact opposite. Tell me everything you did in your marriage so I can do the opposite because I want to have a successful marriage. I want my wife to know she's loved.
Pick and choose your battles. Pick and choose your battle. Is it worth it? When you think about it, is it really worth it to have this argument? Is it worth it? Is it something that's going to, this is going to offset my day? Or is it something that like I need to talk about right now? Like I really pick and choose your battle. I don't know
Push it down. Push it deep down, and then snort something. You'll be
how many
fine.
fights I've had with people that I dated where I'm like, this fight is just not worth it. Can't we just chalk it up as a loss either way? I just can't. Like, why would
And then resentment builds, and eventually you get divorced because you gotta talk about it, even when you don't necessarily want to talk about it. All right, that's all I can listen to. There's like 7 minutes left. I can't imagine there's any more that can come out of that. But yes, as Jen said, dudes say they want a girl all natural and dressed down, then turn around and ask us if we're tired. Yes, I love when they make those little videos like what no makeup really looks like, what men think no makeup is. And men literally have no idea. They think just like a very, like just like the everyday makeup look is the no makeup. No, because if we all just, which I think we should just start showing up now, nothing on our face, don't brush your hair, don't anything. You said you want natural. This is natural, bitch. Just walking around, just like men. Yeah, why are you trying to separate yourself from hygiene? I was just like, what's going on? What's happening there? What's going on? Oh my God. And then tomorrow we have another episode where he's going to talk about something from the mind of a man because I'm too behind and I promised you guys I'd roast him. But now my tummy hurts because listening to them for too long makes my tummy hurt. I got to unsew my baby door that sewed itself shut and I have to take some Pepto-Bismol or something because I'm having the literal ick listening to those two get the ick wrong and then just be super icky. and they're not kidding, Beach. That's the crazy part is they're not kidding. It's crazy. You guys have been beautiful, wonderful pumpkin spice babies. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, Jax Rye, for becoming a new member. Thank you, Susie Q, for the super chat. Thank you, Brandy, for being a member for 6 months. Thank you, Chickenhead PK Dorkface Neely, for the super chat. Make sure you guys like the video, comment after it posts, because unfortunately I don't get to all of your comments here in the live chat, but I wish I could read them all. And so when you comment, then I get to go back and take a look. If you're not already, follow me on social media at Joleen Lunzer on Instagram, Twitter, and the TikTok, as long as the TikTok is alive and well. But I'll be back tomorrow. And thank you guys so much. And like I always say, enjoy yourself, wear your wedges and platforms because it's later than you think. Bye.